Just ponder that. A world gone mad. A world gone mad. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to the most radical Bible stream. Oh yes, I'm going to play into that one for just a little bit. Like I said, I am a full point higher than Natter. A full point higher. We are going to play some of his crazy clips at some point here. Okay? Because and this is like two things we need to look at before we get into it, because we have a big day today. Got a huge day today. We are going to be going through the Carlson, Nick Fuentes video. I will explain that in a moment. I will explain why we are doing that and why that is going to be our journey. Okay? But there are just a couple of things we'll talk about, of course, first. We might have just a little bit of gambling this morning, gentlemen. Okay? We got some wagers that might have to go down. Are we talking South Asia? Okay. Are we back in Pakistan? Okay. This one, I'm already throwing my money down on South Asia, man. Okay. It's this one that I'm not sure about. But it seems to always be South Asia with my followers, so we're going to have some fun this morning. We're going to do that. I need to talk about that radical list just a little bit more, because there's one thing I didn't talk about, and that's special resurrection. And you're probably looking at me, it's like, Dougie, what the fuck is that? And it's like, you don't even want to know. You don't want to know. You don't even want me to tell you. But the problem is I have to tell you, because you're on a radical streaming channel. So I have to tell you random, weird, radical things coming out of Revelation. Well, actually, they pulled it out of Daniel and Ellen. Well, I'm going to be really fair. Ellen White, then Daniel. You never go. Never, ever, ever. I don't care if I agree with her decent amount or not. Like, probably above 60% from the information I've looked at Ellen White and compared to the Bible. Okay? But she would be so mad. Because what they're doing contradicts her writing. She would never tell you that. Okay? It's people 100 years later who have done this. And you know what? They probably did it right as soon as she died. That's when they started changing her stuff. Because in their minds, okay, the quote, mean lady, okay, the one who told them all the things they were doing bad, okay, she's gone. She's gone. So that they could change it. Okay. The only reason, guys, I'm telling you this, the only reason why I don't have people in my chat like Asman, okay, I don't have death threats, I don't have all these things, I don't have people going viral and going off on me all the time on X, it's because no one knows I exist. So do you. So do you guys. You're the only ones that know I exist. It's just kind of funny. Because when the rest of the world finds out I exist, when God is ready to tell them, I'm sure they're going to have a lot of things to say. But see, we have spent so much time talking about it. We already know their argument. We already know how they're going to respond because we heard them say it. And we responded. They just weren't paying attention. And we're going to keep doing that. Because here's the sad truth. This list. Let's go here. Hold on. I got to get back. Not there. That's not where I want. Let's go here. And then we'll do wagers. Okay. Because that's going to be fun. That's going to be something we do more often than not. This isn't my profile. Come on, X. Help me, buddy. Alright. That's what I'm looking for. Alright. So, of course, we're here. This is us. And though the reason we're not at a 10 is because no one knows we exist. Okay? That's reality. That's reality. Okay? Because my honest truth to you is that I'm merely speaking from the Bible. We are merely talking from the Bible. We have always talked from the Bible. Okay? We literally listen to all of Genesis on this channel. 3 hours and something minutes. Okay? And eventually we'll go back into Exodus. It's just I've been having a lot of fun just doing talking. And you know what? The Bible's somewhat, listen to it for hours is somewhat dry. But we probably will. We'll get a little bit more into that again. I just play straight Bible. Especially when we get pissed off at the world or something doesn't go right, we just go back to God for a while. That's what Enoch did. He got annoyed with the whole world, and so he just went and literally walked with God and told God his frustrations. We can do that too. We don't have to go out and do reaction content, okay? We don't have to do all of that. If we decide that we are just going to listen to the Bible and study, we can do that as well. Nonetheless, though, I have 2 questions about this. I have 2 big questions. But they'll still get you demonetized in 0.2 seconds. That I'm wondering about. I have not done my research on these guys yet. I'll be honest, I was very tired last night and I went to bed early. Catholic baggage. He's so right. See, I like him. Even if he is crazy on his 144,000 bullshit, okay? Even if he is crazy on special resurrection bullshit. Special resurrection, I'm not sure, I know his 144,000 stuff is strange, but I don't think he's special resurrection. I don't know. I have no idea where he's at. Don't know them. I will. But this is a big question. Slightly more polished, but they'll still get you demonetized. 0.2 seconds. I don't understand this. This has bothered me. This has bothered me so long. Hold on. What the hell is this? What the hell is the quote? One second. Hey, Grok, I have a question about this quote you said. What does this mean? Prof. Good. Let's see what it says. See if they're violent or not. I'm curious. Sharp eye, man. Ooh, call out the lingo, and that is the truth. Okay? There are many times I will read something, and then hours later I'll go back and it's like, wait, what did you actually mean? Alright, let's see here. The line, channeling the raw... Their spirit is free in prophecy again. Run by Andrew. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. And the saved served crew. Unapologetic. End times SDA fire. Okay. I don't mind about apologetic end times, SDA stuff. I don't. Torching Sunday law as the beast system. Yes. I understand Sunday. All of these guys, it's something that now that we're going to be focused, because the sad truth, all the radical streamers are ex-Adventists. So everything you're going to hear is Ellen White Sunday law. Okay, you're going to hear words like probation, words that you've never heard in your entire life, and it's like that's not in the Bible. And it's like you're right, because they're pulling it from Ellen White. It's Adventist theology. Okay, Adventist doctrine. And I'm not going to say there's a lot that ties with it. Like I said, it's where I fall. But I still don't put Ellen White first. And I have to be careful, especially using words like probation and so forth. It is a term I will say from time to time because there's a line that's drawn. But I use the arc reference. I use Noah to describe my point. I don't have to just say, well, probation's ending. Because the average person, unless you're immersed in Adventist culture, which in that in itself I'm not sure is a great thing. Okay. But all of that, okay, the person you're trying to reach outside of this, okay, they might be from the other side of the world. They may not even speak English that well, okay? I have to use a simple example, okay? And so the simple example I use in that situation, okay, like I said, in the days of Noah, okay, when that ark door closed, that's exactly what it's going to be like when Jesus leaves the heavenly sanctuary and he starts coming here. We do not know specifically how long it will take him to get here, but it will probably be within anywhere between a 24-hour period to 7 days. Okay, most likely. We do not know. There is nothing written in Scripture. There is nothing in Ellen White that truly says it. She says we don't know. No one knows. Okay, we do not know the time or the hour. But there is a very good possibility we could know the year if we are paying very close attention. Okay? If we are watching all of these things. Okay? There is the chance. All of these guys would agree with me on that. Okay? They would say that I'm walking a fine line with date setting. They would say that I'm William Millering it. There's a good one for you. Okay, they would say that about me. Okay, but I would say I look at patterns. Daniel's prophecy. Okay, now Matan, if you're watching. Okay, I had Grok. Okay, side note. Okay, I had Grok just run all the stuff on the Daniel 9 prophecy if I'm ever on your show. Okay, so make sure when I talk about Daniel 9, pay attention. Because I promise you, we're talking about Daniel 9. If I am ever sitting next to you, we're talking about Daniel 9. And I'm sure you're going to have some smart-ass comeback. And it's going to make people laugh across the world. And I'm going to give you gasoline for your comedy. Right? But I still am a theologian. I am a man of God. And I will hold to that line. And I will push. I will push. Because we knew the exact year. The Jewish people knew the exact year Jesus was born. Okay? They did. Daniel prophesied it. No one paid attention. No one was looking. No one cared. Okay? You can't tell me that's not going to be the same state when Jesus comes again. I don't care. Alright, moving into mainstream churches. Mystery Babylon. Okay, yeah, and Babylon is like, that's a 1,000 metaphors. Babylon is 1,000 metaphors. I'm not even a prophecy guy, but I'm going to have to become a prophecy guy. And if we have trouble, if we have issues, we have a fantastic black hole we can dive into with answers. Okay? It's called The Great Reset. If only my friend were back. He's not back. This is his webpage. Okay? And we're going to link it. I've been wanting to throw this here. Okay? I don't know why it's showing hashtag Rangers. Hold on. That's because I think I searched. Why did it save mine? That's the main site. There we go. Okay? My friend, I spent 30 years building this. You want conspiracies? You want stuff? Ooh, a quiz! Oh, a quiz! Hold on. We're taking a quiz, gentlemen. Does the Bible teach that Christians should keep the Ten Commandments? Does the Bible teach that Christians keep the Ten Commandments? New Testament Christians. Well, I think they all kept the Sabbath. Yeah, we're gonna go, yep. Submit vote. Huh. Well, There's your 2% line, gentlemen. There is your 2% line. Asmund would be so proud. Okay? It's 3. Okay, it says 3, but still. There are 3 people, 3% of people out there. Okay, 5 total. See, 183 said yes. So there are 5 total retards here. 5 completely stupid people that do not believe that the Bible teaches that. Okay, back. Another quiz. What day do we keep the Sabbath on? Well, the 7th day, which is Saturday. That sounds pretty straightforward. Sunday is now out because Jesus rose. We've been through this. Nope. Sunday is now the day to keep because that's when Jesus rose. No. We've been through this. The Father rested on the Sabbath, so it can't be that one. Keep any day of the week, but we must rest one. No, I think the Lord was pretty specific. Keep the Sabbath. Keep the Sabbath matters, not since we are saved by grace, but works without faith without works is dead. It does require both. Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." So I definitely disagree with that one. Sabbath was only meant for the Jews. That's an old school one. No. These are the same people that drowned themselves in bacon. Sabbath was a shadow of things to come. I have no idea what that even means. We're not going with it. Catholic Church had the authority to change it. What? Yeah. Those motherfuckers. Remember what I said about Constantine? Satan's fucking architect. That's right, Satan's architect. Catholic Church didn't change it. Whosoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Yeah. Definitely not that one. Nope. I think it's the first one. Do you think we're going to have a 2% line again? We do. There's 5 complete retards out there. There are 5 completely stupid people. Okay, sorry. I had to. Of course I knew these were here. Of course I did. But being a radical streamer, you need to have a tiny bit of theatrics from time to time. Nonetheless, the reason why we are on this incredible page is because he does really awesome lesson studies. And so if you want to know about Daniel, Revelation, and so forth, he presents an argument. This is not just going to show you, say, his point of view. It will have his point of view, but it will have many YouTube videos. The sad truth is, because some of the things he looks at are not very popular, YouTube takes them down. Many of his links are dead, and he spends a lot of his time trying to then re-upload. All the links or find different videos. So, the real reason why I'm here is I asked him to do... Oh yeah, there's the Lunar Sabbath. We haven't even talked about Lunar Sabbath. Bunch of fucking witches! I kid you not. You can't make this... Non-Trinitarian Feastkeeper, far, far, far right. Okay? Extreme conservative. There are some crazy ass groups out there. Okay? And they keep the Sabbath, but they follow by the moon. Now, I knew a group of people that did that. Okay? They were witches. It's what I said when I heard the concept. Hey, they base it around all the Bible, but it just... Oh yeah, they also think that Ruth was not a Moabitess. You know what? They are probably the 5 people that hit no on those polls. They're all Lunar Sabbath people. I'll bet you. I will bet you. We have SDA charts we can look over. I've never really shown you guys these. I grew up with these. But these show the different beasts in the time frames. Like, as we're going to be jumping more into prophecy. I have these pages, and I know enough about Adventist prophecy. I can talk about it. Okay, I can talk to you about Revelation. I can talk to you about Daniel. You know, I've been through them 20 times a piece. It's just they're very complex. And I'm not going to lie to you. I am not specifically a prophecy guy. Okay, I have not spent the past 30 years of my life just studying prophecy, as many people have. I am a generalist. I know the whole Bible. With specialties on demonology, moving into things like prophecy. Okay, because I can talk to you about these concepts. It's just I don't believe that it's a like. Hopefully this will give us the big picture. I know my friend, he has bad vision. He would have to have a large picture to zoom in on. There we go. See? Told you. That actually looks really beautiful on my stream, John. Thank you. He is in my chat from time to time. If I were ever to have a moderator, it would be him. But he's gone right now. So this is going to talk, about Daniel, Revelation, shows you the different points, pagan Rome here. And we have two different charts. We had the William Miller chart, and then we had the one later. I'm not a Uriah Smith fan, though. Remember that. I don't like Uriah Smith. He hated women, and he thought Turkey was the king of the north. Okay? But we have both of these charts here. The statue, this is from Daniel. Okay? This is a big thing. Okay? We are here. We are at the very bottom. Okay? The asteroid is going to come crashing down here soon. Okay? By the way, that asteroid, that is literally Jesus. And his voice is going to rip apart the earth because he is so glorious and powerful. Wait just a second, guys. I gotta pull up my... I've been looking at this. I see it on my chat. My caster labs did not, when I put in that link, the coming reset, I don't know if it was Twitch just didn't like the link I sent, but it didn't actually go to Twitch. My Twitch chat, so give me a second, because I just want to look at accounts. Nope, I'm on there. Failed to send message, missing requirement parameters. Probably because his is... No, it has a S on it. Weird. Okay. Well, nonetheless. Coming reset. You can get there from my webpage as well. If this is offensive. You can just go to my beliefs page, the BTalk 712 one. And you can just go to the beliefs page and he's at the bottom. Coming reset. So you should also be able to search him. Great stuff. The reason that I'm showing you guys this, I really haven't been through this in detail. I've kind of glanced at it, but I've never been through it in detail on the stream. Hold on. Beast of Daniel and Revelation. I think it's this one. And there'll be days we might pick a study, and we will go through one of his lessons. And I'll have no issue doing that. We just have so many things we're pushing with Christian nationalism right now. Okay, this is his overall timeline. Okay. And so we might have to go through here because the one thing I don't always remember are all of the weird prophecy arc, like the 1260 year prophecy. There are just some that I don't remember, like Final Warning. It's a trap. It is a trap. But this will show us all the categories, and he built this very nice timeline chart for us. We also have symbols. So we can go through, look at bride, okay, symbol of Jerusalem, okay, and then we have text text to go with it. And so we'll be able to look at all of that, and this is going to be a resource we are going to be using more. So if you see me on here, it's coming reset page, it is a black hole, but it's a black hole with answers. And so, or at least enough questions that I can come to a conclusion and develop answers on my own. So So I would say we're gonna be there more. Okay. Nonetheless, that was a long detour. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's just keep going through this. Babylon, Bible tweaks. See the final showdown. Prophetical, spicy. Okay, so he's spicy. Hates YouTube. I'll go with flag it for hates. Really? Misinformation. So he's like almost like COVID saying the vaccine was like Mark of the Beast style. Oh, hence the demonetized. Not literally. Okay. So he just gets demonetized because he speaks so radically. Okay. That makes sense. And he's probably, like I said, he's probably saying things like COVID was the literal mark of the beast. I've heard that one. So that does not surprise me. I'm not saying he literally said that. That's just a guess that I'm throwing out and something I have heard before. So, no. Okay. Question answered there. I still think Natter should be a 9. Because we will. Alright. 30 minutes in. Okay. I promise you guys something fun. Get ready, gentlemen. Get ready. All I want to do... Actually, I'm already there. I do love that X isn't overrunning my CPU and stuff. I really do like this more. There's a lot of weird things that are happening just in news, and I have not fully gone through all of it yet. But the Venezuela situation's amping up, and that, remember Jesus said wars and rumors of wars. Okay. And so we've seen that for a long time. We've seen that since the crucifixion. But I still believe that there will be bigger conflicts. And we're going to have to see people coming together. Okay? We've already seen the Pope. Okay? Now, this word I'm going to use is very, very specific. I am not the one who said it. I am quoting someone. Therefore, I have to be specific, especially where I don't have the article directly in front of me. Okay? The Pope stated, a few years ago that he ascended, not ascended. Okay? I did not say ascended, I said ascended. Okay? The UN. Now, this word was very specific to me, so I looked it up. The word... and the definition, as long as I am pronouncing it correctly by memory, was a king taking over something. Like annex, ascended. The Pope stated publicly that he is running the UN. That he conquered it. He said it. I didn't say it. Right? Pope said it. The Pope has now, and that was the last Pope, that was Francis, That asshole walked onto the top of fake Sinai with the Green Commandments, broke them, and said that God failed them. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Catholics. He's gonna burn. He is not righteous in the sight of God, and he will burn. I'm sorry. I know people worship the Pope. Well, guess what? That's idolatry. He was an asshole. He was the liberal gay Pope. You always gotta have a furry in there, guys. We know there's gotta be furries. They pop up all over the place. Why the hell wouldn't it be in the Catholic Church? These are the ones that probably created the concept. What do you think they have under those big robes? Blue wolf costumes! Yeah, I called the priests furries. Yeah. I didn't really even swear. I didn't even really swear. I'm telling you guys, being radical is fun. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Okay. Gambling. We gotta get to gambling. Alright. Let's see here. So this one... Did we already... Okay, so we already had that one, but I had a new one. This one here. Okay, so we have Steph. We have Emmett. Emmett Carter. Now, I guess let's start with the hard one. Now, Emmett, chick, not verified. We're not even gonna look. They only have 164 followers. They're not an artist. All the other ones were artists. This one is the hard one, but she is white. Remember what we did yesterday, okay? We were able to guess the country it was done in by the demographic and look of the chick, okay? South Asian accounts have white women, thus far. Pakistani accounts have Asian women. Okay? So place your bets. Where are we going? I still think... I just saw it. Damn it. And it's not South Asia. But this one is unique. We wouldn't have guessed it directly. This one actually directly is China. It actually does say China directly. But there is no artistry on this one. I find it interesting that I have more Asian scammers following me than actual people. That's fine. That's why we took a little bit of time yesterday and we talked about thou shalt not steal. And thou shalt not, basically, bear false witness. And you probably shouldn't covet. And there's a lot of other ones. But definitely the stealing. Definitely the stealing. Yeah, I would not have guessed that one. Okay, next one. I'm just going to click on it. So, Steph. And I won't hover. Okay, Steph. Okay. Look at that. That's like some U.S. city right there. Magic. High-quality logo design. Animation. Commission open. And look at her. I think she's got horns on her head. Oh, she's definitely someone that would listen to my channel. 100%. South Asia. South Asia. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Mr. Musk, sir. If you hadn't done this, I would have sworn she was from LA or something. Or Chicago. Or a shithole like Detroit. South Asia. They have white chicks with horns. He didn't even read my bio! This shit isn't really popular here. Wanting to be the devil is not necessarily popular on this channel. Now, I'm sure you guys are having a little trouble seeing that, especially the ones on phones, okay? Okay, let's zoom in here. Because this is such good comedy. I literally could not write it. That I am able to predict where an account is by the look of the... It blows my mind. It blows my mind. There she is. This person's so stupid, they didn't even read my profile. Remember, guys, thou shalt not steal. Okay. Oh. This is going to be long. This is going to be long, but we got to get into it. Okay. Eventually, we do need to say what the new Pope said. Eventually, we do. Maybe later. I want to do this. Here's why I want to do this. Okay? First off, this channel is getting into political content. Okay? It is still religious based. Okay? Because I'm looking at Baal 2.0 before me. We're looking at Golden Calf round 2. Okay? But the Golden Calf is now potentially nationalism. So there's my concern. Okay? Number 2. And I want this stated very, very clearly. Okay? Why am I doing this? I could have done this in my own personal time. And I could still. Right? I want it stated that, first off, this guy on the left here, let's just pull it up. Let's just pull up the video. I'll have to pause it. Okay? Oh, now he's on the right. Okay, this guy on the right, I like him. I'm not going to tell you that everything he says I agree with. Here's what I do. This is what I do agree with Tucker Carlson. Okay? He wants to know. He is willing to ask any question to get the answer. He is a legitimate reporter. And I'm gonna be so clear and blunt with this, because if he ever watches this, I don't want to think, either of these guys, if either of these guys see this clip or know that I've gone through reactions on this, I don't want it to be said that I did this to go after them. Okay? First off, I respect this man, and if I were ever to be interviewed by anyone across the entire world, he is probably the only one I would say yes to. Unless God said otherwise. If it were my personal choice, it would only be him. I'm serious. I am so insanely serious about that, because I know he would give me a fair shot. Okay? As he would with Nick Fuentes. Okay? Now, why would I listen to Nick Fuentes? First off, nationalism. Okay? But I'm not here to pick a fight with him. Okay? I don't think that he and I will agree. He is Catholic. Okay? You guys heard what I said about Constantine. You see my stuff. You heard what I said not that long ago. Okay? About Francis. The blue wolf costumes, guys. Blue wolf. Underneath the robes. So, those points he and I will not agree on. I'm also not America first. I'm very honest about America first. I like America. Trump has made America great again. I'll say it. We're watching the rise of the lamb-like beast. I hoped it would be... I dreamt that it would be this badass. Like, I truly... The only thing I'm disappointed is that he's not more of a radical dictator. that we are not seeing a greater shift. I will come. I firmly believe it will come as we looked at those numbers, 2026 to 2028. Next few years, it'll amp up. I firmly believe this is only the beginning. Okay, but I'm not America first. Okay, has Trump taken the country out of the shithole situation it was in and taken it back up? Yes. Okay, if you disagree with this, I'm sorry. Just look around. Just look around. Listen to people. Okay, is it 100% better? No. Okay, is it better than what it was? Yes. Is it getting greater? Yes. Is it truly awesome, miraculous, badass peace on Earth? Of course not. And it never will be. Okay? We are watching the end of Roman Republic to Roman Empire. Okay? That's where the United States is within the next few years. Now, I am God first. God first party. Okay? I love America. I am an American citizen. Okay? I have no issue whatsoever with this country, and I am grateful. Okay? I'm grateful for where I am. But I don't worship at the idol of the nationalism. Anything can become an idol, guys. Remember this, okay? Remember. And I don't want it to be said that I'm anti-United States, because I'm not. The laws of the land are right underneath the Ten Commandments. Okay? The problem is that they want peace on earth. We're not going to have peace on earth. We need to be talking about the Word of God, and then Jesus is going to come, because remember, okay, all of this is going away. All of it. Okay? Everything from this little path, and even the path is going to go away too. That's why we're running up it. I need to have Grok redo this. I swear, one of these days. But it's going to take me like 30 minutes to write out the probably line like that with the description and parameters for exactly what I want. And then it's going to take me so many rounds to get the image that I want. I'm going to have that one on a phone. I'm going to have some of these guys on phones. That's the joy of being a creator. That's the joy of having my... I just naturally think that way. I don't want to said that. Okay? And guess what? Everything else I put underneath that. All the other biblical precepts, statutes, laws, all underneath it. That's health, feasts. That's how much I believe that's what the principles of the Old and the New Testament are. What did Daniel say to Darius when he came in? What did he say? Long live the king. Let the king live forever. What did Nehemiah say? What did they all say? If I were to meet Trump, I'm very serious. I would shake his hand and I would say, I wouldn't say king. The reason why I probably would have said king directly a few years ago, but now because of the No Kings protest, I'm sure that it would be taken the wrong way, because it wasn't meant to be. I would say, may the president live forever. And it's not meaning literally forever, it's meaning that he would have a long lifespan. It is a high compliment that you should say to your leader. Now, were there wicked kings in the Bible? Yeah. Remember, we have no issues here with bringing back Old Testament answers. Okay? Because the Christian Nationals want to bring back Old Testament answers, but they don't want to follow all the Old Testament. Okay? So as the most radical Bible-based streamer, as the guy who actually is going to read line by line, and we're going to follow it, okay, that means you got to keep the Sabbath. We're just going to go around in circles. Okay? Around in circles, because no one's answered. No one's answered my question. No one. Because they can't. I am watching this video to learn. I want to learn. Will I disagree with probably a few points? He says yes. Will I agree with a few points as well? Probably. If I can agree with Shoe on Head, who is farther left, more socialist, okay, democratic, if I can agree with Asman, okay, when Asman was a libertarian, I mean, he and I have probably like 3 or 4 points in common just because of that, because we kind of like, I want to be left alone. That's my definition of a libertarian. Not true radical libertarian. I'm not a radical libertarian. I just want to be left alone. I'll pay my taxes. We'll have the infrastructure, the federal government, so forth. Yeah, but the government does not have the right to come and tell me what day I can worship on. They have no right to tell me if I can keep the Feast of Tabernacles outside. Okay? And if they do push it and become more of a radical government, well, guess what? Just like Daniel, I'm going to be praying in my window and I'm not closing the shades. And if it's to the lion's den I go, well, guess what? I love cats. My arch nemesis. That's my arch nemesis. Those who know this channel, I'm not even going to give him the dignity of saying his slur name. That's how much I despise him. And his time is almost up. The short amount that I have heard from this gentleman, I have liked. Okay? I'm not a fan of Israel. Do I hate the Jews? No. But they can stay over in their country, they can keep their land, and guess what? They rejected the Messiah. The only thing I have to talk to them about is Daniel 9. We can agree on the rest of Torah. The rest of Torah, I agree with. I got the interlinears up there. I would love to study Old Testament with you guys. Truly. Truly. Study and learn. Because the majority of Old Testament we will agree with. Okay? I agree with the feasts. I do not agree with the sacrificial system anymore. But I agree with the feasts. I agree with prayer tassels. I agree with many, many things. And in more ways anymore, I probably am more like Charlie Kirk. I probably side more on the messianic belief side, whatever, than not. I'm not saying Charlie Kirk was a messianic Jew. I'm just saying that he, like his Sabbath debate, he spoke with a messianic Jew, and he kept it like more for that reasoning. And so, like all of Torah, I would agree. I would agree with an Orthodox Jew. It's just that they put a curse on Daniel 9. So, therefore, we can't talk about Daniel 9. Well, I can talk about Daniel 9, but they can't. Because it means it means they're going to go someplace very bad. Okay? That's not the truth. That's an illusion and a lie that they've been told. Because the problem is, once they realize that that was a lie, then they have to go over to the Messianic side. You can't be Orthodox anymore. Because they missed it. They were the virgins that forgot the oil and they went some other place for a while. That is actually at the end. That parable actually is meant for the end, for the saved and not saved. But I am using it for that. But Jesus actually specifically, his primary goal with that was actually for the end, for the saved and not saved at the second coming. But I did throw that in there. Now, this has chapters. But I'm very glad this has chapters. This should have chapters. Please. Okay. Get out of watch that. Oh, there we go. Alright. See, and things like that, like Daily Wire's effort to destroy Fuentes, I don't necessarily care about. I don't care about, like, the specific inner workings of the Republican Party or the inner workings of the America First Party. I'm gonna be honest, I don't give two shits. I care about the overall views. I care about, okay, this is a semi-larger stone that's in the pile, okay? All these things are like a big pile of stones. All these things matter, and they all tie together, okay? This is just a slightly larger stone than some of the other stones we have looked at, okay? Because he represents a very large group of young Americans, okay? Let's see. Yeah, it should be coming through my speaker. I have Chinooks fly over me. Big double-bladed helicopter. They fly over because there's airport not too far. I could see that, like, going, my sound bar was, like, going like this because of the vibration. I've always been a fan of helicopters. My eyes were good. And if I actually had perfect vision, I would not be on here. That's why I don't have perfect vision, because I would be in a helicopter. I would love to fly. Wanted it my entire childhood. Alright. So Daily Wire effort to go after him, I mean, I'm sure they did. Here's the thing, okay? Here's another reason why we're going to take a look at this, okay? It's because this guy has gotten such a bad rap, okay? Guess who else got a bad rap? Ron Paul, okay? I'm sure many of you haven't heard that name in a while, yeah? He got a bad rap, but he was right. That's the problem. That's why I have to listen, is because he might be more right than not, okay? But do I agree with nationalism? I think building a country of order and laws based upon values is what God would hope for as we spread his message and wait for his coming. The problem is that they're all worshiping on the wrong day. So I agree with the overall principle. I do. I think the country should have law and order. Okay? It's just that I don't think that has to happen. There's my difference. I'm going to sit back, and if God's plan is to let the United States burn, well, how can I put this to you gently? Okay? And I recommend that you really follow my advice on this, and you do the same as me. I'm going to be with the being that when he speaks, he literally creates the Grand Canyon. Okay? That his voice shakes and destroys sin. That his brightness will be blinding unless you are like him. We literally won't even be able to handle it. That's why we can't see the Lord. It's because we would die. Any of us. Doesn't matter if you keep all of it or not. There has to be that shield there because his righteousness, his glory, would disintegrate us because we are covered in sin. When I told you about the cleansing fire, okay? Why that picture's so important is because of that. Why did Fuentes attack Joe Kent? I have no idea who even the fuck Joe Kent is. Identity politics. That's a big one. Identity politics is a big one. Why did Fuentes attack Marjorie Taylor Greene? That whole shit is sketchy. I saw her thing. All of that shit's sketchy. on both sides. I don't trust Republicans. I haven't trusted Republicans somewhere since 2004. Somewhere in that. Somewhere 2005? I divorced myself from their idiocy. As a teen. Is Fuentes a Fed? No. What a stupid thing to say. He does look like a... He is a little bit clean, but that's because he... That's the churchgoer. That's the Roman... That's the pig and the shaving. Remember why I don't shave? Remember why? There's always, like... And I'm not saying it looks perfect, but that's Leviticus 19. Yeah? Because cops are generally pretty clean. You can always see a cop coming. Doesn't matter if they try to be dirty or not. It's not a Fed. What a stupid thing to say. I like that Tucker dresses how he is. You know what? I'm gonna shout Tucker out here for a moment, because looking at, I've always liked his house, beautiful home. I think does he live in Texas? I'm not sure. Lives somewhere nice. Gorgeous antler ceiling, Canadian goose, beautiful, utterly beautiful. Very nice mics, American flag in the background. Alright. What does Fuentes actually believe? Okay. That's honestly probably where we should start. What does Fuentes actually believe? I'm actually quite curious. That's probably our main reason for this. Fuentes dinner with and Donald Trump. Alright. Cool. I bet you know what? I bet it would be I bet having dinner with Donald Trump, okay, even if I were at the far end of the table, okay, if I were at the other side of the room, I bet that it would be an interesting event. I bet it would. And damn right I would wear a suit. The assassination attempt on Fuentes. I'm sure. Why is political violence rising in America? Because we're watching the fall of the end of the Republic. We're going to be moving into something slightly different, a different flavor here soon. Whether you want to call it a theocracy, or you want to call it a monarchy, or you want to call it a dictatorship. I want to call it, I believe that it is changing. It's just how it is. And the AI even backed me up. That's the sad truth. At most, we have probably 22 years. At most, but I don't believe it will be that long. I believe we're looking probably by 2028, 2029. Doesn't help that there's a world clock or something, like that the end of the world is by 2030 or whatever. I firmly believe that Satan put that there. I don't have any proof of that. I have like zero proof. But I figured I would just state it. And I think that's in New York City. I've never seen it. Hey, I'm gonna be, since we're talking political right now. Since Trump has cleaned up D.C., I'm actually not that far from D.C. like I was. I mean, I used to be on the other side of the country. I'm actually within, like, 2 days driving of D.C. Since he has cleaned up the United States Capitol before I die, I might actually go see the United States Capitol. I never thought I would because it was such a shithole. Okay? There are things that I do like that he has done. Okay? Is he a godly man? No. Has God lifted up leaders to do things? Yes. Look at Nebuchadnezzar, and definitely look at the Assyrian king. Okay? But when he got rid of the Philistines and Israel and the rest of them, okay? God will do that. But it's not his first preference. Many times. A lot of the time it just it has to be done. I think we're ready for the end. And I have no issue with Donald Trump being the emperor of the world. Because Jesus is coming. Okay? Remember. Okay? Remember. We were running up the hill. There's a helicopter. They got Jesus' big cloud helicopter thing up here. Okay? We're going here. Okay? These guys are fucked. They are on their phones. They are not looking. There is lightning, explosions, screaming, death, and plagues. This is Detroit times 10. I'm sorry I make fun of Detroit. I've never been to Detroit. I've never even been to Michigan. I've just seen a lot of pictures and stuff of it. And I would never go there. It doesn't help I used to sell insurance for Michigan. I would never ever live there because of your guys' fucked up insurance. It's horrible. It's horrible. Same with Massachusetts. I would never live there. And I would never live in Florida. Those are the 3 places I would never go just because I like to drive. And if I lived in those places, I probably wouldn't drive because I couldn't afford it. But these guys are fucked. Okay? We're just going to be honest. Okay? The I believe in God category. The atheists, the Satanists, okay? The furries. All of them. Okay? Anyone, even if you are here and you stop and you turn, and you are not moving up the hill, this is not safe ground either. This is just going to be burned later. And when I say burned later, I'm talking minutes later, not hours later. Okay? That's why Jesus is having us go up the specific hill. Because he's going to be right on the other side. Okay? But people in their stupidity... Actually, let's call it what it is. Remember we talked about classification of intelligence? Idiocy. And remember how smart and an imbecile must look to an idiot. Imagine. They're going up here. Okay? This is where we need to go. And we should do it in love. And we should do it in kindness because that's what Jesus is. But the problem is that's not what Satan is. Now, I am not telling you, okay? I'm not telling you to be literally this. But kid yourself not, we are in a war. Do not tell yourself otherwise. Your enemy, if he were allowed, my arch nemesis, if he could at this very moment, okay, he would destroy every plant, every bird, every creature, every single thing on the face of the planet that resembles God. Everything. We are not going to do that. We are not going to go beat women and children with crosses like the Catholic Church did. Okay, we're not going to do that. Okay? We're not going to put them on spears like the Jesuits. Okay? We're not going to tell ourselves that the ends justify the means. Okay? The sad truth is, these people, I want them up here. It's that they don't want to be up here. And I can't force them. But I can tell them they're wrong. I can. Oh, porn is destroying men. It really is. That is a true statement. And the word addiction tied with it has made it even worse. Toxic feminism. I'm so glad it's dying. I am so glad. I have waited a decade. I have sat in silence. I've literally taken my mind to a different universe. And now that the Karens are falling off the cliff like the Spartans throwing the elephants off with spears. Okay? That they are falling. I'm sorry. I know these type of people, just like Asman, okay? I know these type of people. They will apologize. They will claim that they are injured, okay? But they will come back at you again and again. I'm not saying I'm going to actively push them over the edge, and I'm not, but this has to happen, okay? It really has to happen. And I'm going to remind them that their shitty-ass empire of wokeness is collapsing. Okay? Them changing genders. Okay? Them hating men. Okay? People like me. Truly. It's like, that was before I ever... I mean, it has nothing to do with God. That's just my natural, normal, personality. It's just who it is. And I'm not saying I don't have female friends. I've had a lot of female friends. But there was a specific demographic of women I do not get along with. And it has been that way since my 20s. It has been that way since I was walking in bars. And I would get into debates and arguments. Okay? And it was always with the feminist lesbians. It was always. I had no issue with the gay guys. Gay guys weren't my competition. Remember, I was a partier. I was there to pick up women. Well, the problem is so were the lesbians. You see my problem now. Okay? So in my early 20s, they and I, groups of it's been a long, hard battle. Well, now we're coming up. Okay, then I basically go through, corporate and so forth. I watch this. I watch diversity rise. Okay? I watched them hate on me for being, at that time, a smoker and a white male. Okay? I am pushed from all sides. Okay, you're damn right it's toxic. And now that it's falling off the cliff, if it does recover, well, unfortunately, I might just... Because you've pissed me off. Because you're anti-God. Because I'll look at God and I'll say, I'm sorry. Should I have just nudged? No, I probably shouldn't have. But are they, in many ways, especially the liberal Karen? The anti-God Karen? The blue-haired nose ring Karen? Okay? No, I don't feel sorry for them. I don't. I have watched this in my professional career. Okay? And I've watched it in my own personal life. It is now going away. It is 100% toxic. And now that I am a streamer online, I have no issue talking about it. Remember, this is the dude, okay? And if anyone can find that video, I don't know if I can pay you. I would do a gift. I would say that. I would either do signed books or something. I'm not sure I can, legally give you money. I don't think I can do that. But if anyone ever found that clip, because those videos are lost, of me in a Green Arrow outfit, I actually would do reactions for it. Because I actually did. I actually did wear a Smallville Green Arrow outfit with glasses and went off on a rant about lesbian. Because the entire thing bothered me. I had always felt picked on, okay, from that side, and it just got worse. And so I quit talking about it, and I quit battling it, and I ended up just literally going to a different universe. Well, now I'm back. Okay? Now I'm back. The beast is dying. And if we have to Spartan kick him off the edge of the cliff, well, I know how to do that shit. I could probably do that with a spear and shield in hand. Those make comments about Pete Hegseth having crusade tattoos, which I think is kind of a big deal considering he's on the Christian nationalist side. Okay? I have Latin, Rome, Spartan shit. I got Spartacus's quote on my shoulder in Latin. So, I'm a pretty big fan of Rome, Roman Empire. In many ways, even like Greece as well, like when we talk about just straight Spartans. What does America future like? Okay, so we've now looked over the chapters. That's where we're starting. What does Fuentes actually believe? That's my first question. Okay. And remember, we are going to go through and do this not because I'm trying to go after these guys, but because I want to learn. Learning is a big deal. If you don't learn, you're going to die young, okay? And you're not going to have as much fun. I'm not saying that you have to know everything, okay? But you should never look at the world and say, well, that's too hard, or I don't think I could ever do that. You may not be able to do that. Will I ever be an artist? No. I will never be an artist. Will I ever be a truly popular singer? No. I can somewhat sing, but can I sing like my mom or my sister? I will never be able to in my life. There are things I cannot do. But it doesn't mean you should not try and you should not learn. That's why. But I also really do respect this man. I do. I watched him back on Fox, and I listened to him, and I will continue. He was the only good one on Fox. Especially now that Candace Owens has lost her mind. She's so batshit crazy, I haven't even watched her videos. Because everyone just talks about all the crazy things she says. And I used to really like her. And I don't know what the hell happened. I have no idea. Because we're talking like extreme paranoia. Like we're talking pill popper paranoia. Remember, like I've been in drug circles. I've seen extremely paranoid people. And it generally has to do with drugs. But this guy, no. This guy, out of anyone in the entire world, he would give me a fair shake. He would ask me tough questions. He would. He would ask me, why do I feel I have to probably do it the way I do? It's because no one is listening. And if the building is on fire, well, maybe you should yell. If the building's on fire, maybe it's time for children's church to end. Okay? Maybe it's time we divorce ourselves from mother. Just kidding. Not divorce. Wrong word. It's not often I misspeak like that. Like, I actually use the wrong word. It is time that we wean ourselves. Okay? The church is a handicap. Okay? Churches are a handicap at this point. We need to look at it like it's serious. We need to treat it like it's serious. And we need to quit, especially from the Adventist side, from the prophecy side, we gotta quit talking about Sunday law. I'm done with that. I have issued now a formal debate, and I will do it again across the entire fucking world. God's on my side. I speak from the Bible. Anyone. I'll debate the Sabbath with you. I even walked you through my entire argument. Something a true professional debater would never do. I gave you every key point to counter me. Everyone. That's how confident I am that the creator of the universe will give victory. Okay? But they don't want to answer because they know I'm right. Alright, guys. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break for a few. And then we will go through this. We're going to do... I think we're just going to see what he believes. Why he hates weed and alcohol. He's a control freak. Uptight guy. Professionalism. You can tell by the haircut. Clean lines. Very nice suit. Well-fitting suit. Look at the cuffs. Matching tie. Perception. Perception and moral principle matter to him. Okay? Behavioral analytics aren't a they're not a 100% science, but they do matter. Okay? And I am not right 100% of the time. I'm not. Especially with salesmen. Salesmen can still throw me off, especially a really, really good salesman. Okay? Because I was a sales, it's hard. It's hard. But I've looked at behavioral analytics for a long time. And I'm not gonna lie, I just have a natural, I've been told by psychologists, I just have a natural knack for it. Okay? We might watch that one too, though. But like I said, look at him. He went in nicely. I would look nice, but I probably would mirror Tucker. You could see in the frame, jeans, just like a casual, nice shirt. I would probably do something similar. Or just wear a really nice, like one of my chosen t-shirts or something. Maybe even do a custom one. Who knows? But perception like that actually is a big thing. Okay, it can be. In the right situation, I will wear a suit. But I don't feel I have to just to look professional. In fact, there are many times I don't want to. There are many times that me having a long beard, untrimmed beard, long hair, okay, looks like I have it, like, looking like a homeless person, okay, can be very beneficial to me, okay? My long coat, my hat, people avoid me. People don't want to talk to me. You might say, well, no, that can't be right because we all have Christian values. We're all good people. No. You walk around looking dirty and stuff, okay? Especially as a guy. Like, that's a woman saying that response. Okay, especially as a guy. You think the mom and her girls are gonna walk... No, they're gonna cross the street and walk to the other side. You're looking at a dude who had a full-length, black, real leather trench coat. Okay? A Spike replica. Spike from Buffy. Okay? I have had people cross over the other side. I have had people look at me and say, I don't want to meet you in a back alley. And this was a wrestler. He was like 300-something pounds, and he looked at me with my fedora and my coat. Matching both. And he goes, I don't want to meet you. I don't want to see you in a back alley. I was like, really? Well, that's good to know. Because I'm a small guy. I've always been picked on. Always been picked on. And so I found ways over the years that, well, it's probably just, like, adaptation. It's not evolution, because there is no such thing as evolution. But adaptation, I do agree with 100%, and I have adapted. Let's take a break. We're going to take a break. I'm going to be back in a few. Throw on some music. We will return. I'm sorry, sometimes I really can be just an asshole. I don't know why. I've always been that way. So I learned how to really get out of fights and talk my way out of fights, because somehow I was always in them. I always had someone angry with me. And then I started just, later in life, I started speaking in riddles. And so then people just started thinking I was funny. They didn't realize that I was actually being 100% serious still. Oh, but guys, we have another one. Oh, we have another one. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be our new hobby. Okay? Because I could have sworn I just... Didn't I get another one? Hold on, maybe it lied to me. Did it lie to me? Did my phone lie? Okay, nope, never mind. It was just this one. But seriously, the picking of the followers, which it looks like I'm getting one a day on the posts when I say I'm going live. Okay. We're going to do gambling every day. We're going to pick wagers. We're going to see how many are from South Asia. And now we know that the Hong Kong people, they just have a professional woman who's actually probably looks more like a prostitute, a professional prostitute. We're just going to remember that, okay? So professional prostitute is China, okay? White chick in the U.S., okay, that's South Asia. And then Asian chick is Pakistan. So the South Asians are trying to scam us, and the Pakistani are trying to scam the South Asians. I see how it is. Well, actually, everyone's trying to scam the people that love the Asian chicks. Everyone. Hey, kitty. I wish I could turn my camera. My cat's like literally staring at me right now. Oh, we will. We're gonna have fun with that. Alright, let's do it. Where is it? See how loud this is. Oh, is that okay?
You're one of those people. One of the reasons I wanted to meet you is you're one of those people who is defined by clips.
Yes.
And I'm one of those people also.
Yes.
Right? So I get it. So I'm going to just shut up and you tell me what you actually believe.
Yeah. Well, and listen, I mean, and I appreciate you saying that because that's just a reality of the media environment we're in. So I don't expect you to know all my views, but I mean, as far as the Jews are concerned, I think that, like I said, you cannot actually divorce Israel and the neocons and all of those things that you talk about from Jewishness.
Oh boy. Oh boy, gentlemen. He is right. We know he is right because we have looked over Ezekiel. We know why the neocons want them in the first place. Is because they think there's going to be this big-ass third temple. Okay? Remember what I said, and I'm going to be even more clear. When I see, and we're going to be specific. We're going to be clear and specific this time. When I see the fires of the weapons in Jerusalem for 7 years, and not one person in all of Israel, not one child, goes into the forest and grabs a twig, a single leaf, then I will believe. Otherwise, it is a metaphor. Do I fully understand what it is a metaphor? No, because I don't understand most of Ezekiel. And you don't understand most of Ezekiel either. Because it was crazy. It is one of the most insane books next to Revelation. So of course the neocons want you. Because they've been getting money. The Protestants have been given billions. Donations. That's not even to the government. Those are just the churches. I know people who give to Israel, who say if we don't stand with Israel, we're going to die. There was a church down here who had American flag, they took it down, okay, because I think they took heat for it. American, Christian, Israeli, in South Carolina, okay? Because here they believe that. From Jewishness.
Ethnicity, religion, identity. And let me give you like a perfect example. So you say on your show that we need to treat Israel like any other country. And I sort of understand that in principle because Israel is another foreign country.
Yeah.
But Israel is unlike every other country in the sense that because the Jewish people are in a diaspora all over the world, there are significant numbers of Jews in Europe, but also in the United States. And because of their unique heritage and story, which is that they're a stateless people, they're unassimilable, they resist assimilation for thousands of years. And I think that's a good thing. And now they have this territory in Israel.
I'm just gonna quick say I believe that's a good thing too, because that's Old Testament. So I agree.
There's a deep religious affection for the state. It's bound up in their identity, the story
Sorry,
of
I think my
Exodus from
volume's low.
Egypt, the promise of the land, all these things. So let's say in the United States, for example, somebody like a Sheldon Adelson, he's not Israeli. Is he an ideological neocon? Does he believe in the promise of democratic globalism? I don't think necessarily.
Hold on, my volume is... I'm sorry. We might have to... I hope you guys could hear that.
His heart is in Israel. And it's because he is a proud Jewish person. And I guess what I'm saying is that if you are a Jewish person in America, you're sort of, and again, it's not because they're born, but it's sort of a rational self-interest politically to say, I'm a minority. I'm a religious ethnic minority. This is not really my home. My ancestral home is in Israel. There's like a natural affinity that Jews have for Israel. And I would say on top of that, for the international Jewish community. They're extremely organized, and many of them are critical of Israel.
The reason why though is we have to go back to Old Testament. We have to go back to Exodus, and that is they were commanded to. If you are following Torah, the men, okay, specifically, they can take their wives and so forth. It doesn't just have to be the men, but the men have to return during 3 feasts: Passover, Day of Atonement, and Tabernacles. I think it was those 3.
Israel or Israel's current government or the project of Israel. But I guess what they have in common, unlike, let's say, like Singapore, for example, is that they have this international community across borders, extremely organized, that is putting the interests of themselves before the interests of their home country. And there's no other country that has a similar arrangement like that. No other country has a strong identity like that, this religious blood and soil conviction, this history of being in the diaspora, stateless, wandering, persecuted, and in particular, the historic...
Okay, but the persecuted thing, they brought it on themselves. Okay, remember this. Now, people are really gonna take that the wrong way. That there will probably Holocaust comments off that one. Okay, but what we need to do is we need to go farther back. Okay, where this really, really went bad for them was first off with Jesus. Okay, there's item number 1. They said, "Let his blood be on us and our children." No, I'm not saying that there is like that means 100% generational. Okay. Because generational can be, like, sin like that can be taken very literally, and that's one of those things that is, like, it says to the 3rd and 4th generation. So, could that keep getting greater over time? I don't know, but I don't think that we fully understand how that works, and I think people take it too hyper-literal. I just try to be careful with it.
Animosity between the Jewish people and the Europeans. They hate the Romans because the Romans destroyed the temple. That's why Eric Weinstein goes to the Arch of Titus and gives it the finger.
Yep. Okay. So, Jesus. Okay, so we just talked about Jesus. Okay. Then we had the stoning of Stephen. Okay, so at those 2 points, the Jewish people had divorced themselves from God. Okay? The stoning of Stephen was the end. And then the temple was destroyed as Jesus prophesied. Why did he weep? Because he knew there would be thousands on crosses as far as the eye could see. Men, women, and children. And Rome went in and they literally took to the last block. So from that time, they got a chip on their shoulder, and they were persecuted. But the people in Jesus' day divorced themselves from God. Okay? They did at that point. I'm not saying that the people now do. Okay? Like we said earlier. Okay? They can turn around, but the problem is they would have to give up the orthodox. They would have to give up, quote unquote, the true Jewishness, as Fuentes would say it. That's the problem. Okay, and it goes back to Daniel 9. It always keeps jumping back to Daniel 9 because that states when Jesus was going to be there. It always comes back to it. Now the neocons, okay, here's the greater problem. Okay, is all these guys are pushing this, okay, and the Jewish people don't believe in Jesus. And the Bible says clearly, if you don't believe that Jesus... My hand hit the mic, boom. If you don't believe in Jesus, and you are anti-Christ. And technically, okay, I don't mind using Matan. I'm going to start using Matan as an example. Okay, because he was Jewish. Okay, like I said, if I was ever on a show. Okay. But I'm going to use him as an example. Okay. And it's nothing personal. But if I'm actually following the letter of the law in 2 John, because, unless he was Messianic Jew, that I don't know. I don't know if he's Orthodox or Messianic. If he is Orthodox... Okay, then we have to go there. Because it's what it is.
And takes a picture. We don't think like that as Americans and white people. We don't think about the Roman Empire in 2,000 years ago. They do.
I do.
And
in fact, I would actually semi disagree with him. There have been polls that have been taken, and most men actually really do think about Rome more often than not. I've done a great deal of study into Rome, not just for theological reasons, not just because of that, just because they're a brutal civilization. I like war. I think most men like war.
So I guess that's really, and I don't think that's me saying the Jews. I don't think that's me being hateful. I don't think that's me being collectivist. I think that's understanding that identity politics, whether you love it or hate it, whatever you feel about it, it's a reality that we live in a world of Jews and Christians, of whites and blacks.
And if that's all he has said, if that's the overall point of view, I'm sorry, I don't disagree with that whatsoever. It's not anti-Jewish. I'm going to be honest, probably some of the things I have said would be more offensive than him, and I'm not anti-Jewish. Okay? I'm not going to tell you a lie. Okay? I'm not going to tell you that the Jewish people love Jesus and that it's all going to be good. Okay? Or that they hated Jesus and Jesus doesn't care. They took an innocent man and they stoned him to death. They took the Son of God and they drug him before a court, threatened a rebellion, okay, screamed like children, possessed children, okay. No matter what Jesus had to die, Satan would have found one way or another, but that's Satan. It doesn't mean that the people had to. One way or another, that was prophesied. Satan would have had someone in his power do it. But the Jewish people could have. Okay? And you can say that I'm wrong. Okay? You can say that I'm wrong. The problem is, though, remember, you're talking with a science fiction author. Okay? Looking at multiversal concepts is what I fucking do. Of course that could have happened. If you look back at the Bible, okay, you really think God intended for everyone to end up in captivity? When he promised Abraham that land, that's a conditional prophecy. It means you follow me and I give it to you, or you don't follow me and you're going to have a hard time. And we have seen that through the entire Bible. No Orthodox or Messianic Jew could argue that point because it is literally written over and over. Okay? The people were good, then they started intermarrying, then they started worshiping idols, then God had to have someone come over them, they had to be oppressed, okay? And then then the people repented, God raised up a leader, okay? Destroyed them, and then we do it all over again. It's the same story over and over and over. Through the Old Testament, okay? They are reliving the same story to this day. They haven't moved on. Jesus was the next part of the story. Okay? The next part of the story was the pinch. Okay, it was the change. Could have been crisis. I think Showdown should be Second Coming. If I'm going to really break down the full Bible and plan of salvation in a story arc and movie. Because, like we've talked about this before. It's like, and I'll just I'm not going to put it on paper because it's going to take too long. But, Catalyst, Big Event, Pinch, Showdown, Crisis, Resolution. So, yeah, Pinch would be, that's when things change. That's when Jesus came down. That would be his life. And then Showdown. Showdown of the story. That's Jesus coming back. Resolution. We're all going up there.
Identities mean something to us and they mean things to each other, and we can't sort of wish them away. And it feels like white people and Christians are the only ones that do that.
There's no question about that, your last point, for sure. One of the reasons they do that is because they've been taught to hate themselves, of course, since the Second World War. Another reason is, however, the reality of a multi-ethnic country requires you to sort of set aside community or group interests in favor of corporate interests, universal interests, national interests. And you have to do that or else it doesn't work. And so, I agree those attitudes, I mean, certainly in other parts of the world, people think this way, but you can't have that here. And so it's just important to remind everybody that, things may be generally true, but like, again, they're not always true. And there are people who just strongly disagree. And by the way, in the specific case of Israel, there are a ton of Orthodox who I know who are opposed to the state of Israel. They're just they're more Jewish than...
Yeah. There is an extreme right side of that, and it is the rabbi. They do not believe in the war in the same way. They don't want to be drafted. The yeshiva students, they've been protesting. I think the protest is probably done because now the hostages are back. But they were sitting in the streets being arrested because they would rather go to prison than serve in the IDF. So I definitely agree with Tucker's statement there. I've seen it from Times of Israel, their main news networks.
Dave Rubin, a lot more, and yet they oppose it. Jeff Sachs is like the most wonderful man, who's Jewish, the most articulate kind of critic of the state of Israel that I'm aware of. So, like, I don't know, that's just meaningful. You can't, if everything is in...
And I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be very honest with you as my audience. And this is where this is the first political, religious political content videos I've ever done reactions to. Okay. There are things that he says here. Okay. There are people that he bring up. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea of what he's fucking talking about. I have no idea. He's a very smart man. And Fuentes sounds like it. I mean, these two know what they're talking about because they're in the political realm. I'm a theologian. Okay, I'm going to look at the political realm, but I'm going to look at it through the lens of the Bible. So I'm just letting you know, there are unfortunately some things that I just can't even comment on because I have no idea who these people even are.
Inherited, then there's no hope for the continuation of America.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's genetically inherited.
Okay, hold on. Continuation of America. That's a big deal to them. Okay? Like I said, it's not really a big deal to me. I love this country, but if God says the country has to burn and something has to happen for things to change, then it's like, okay, God, you have the flamethrower. Okay, that's unfortunately where I'm at with it, and so that's why I'm not America first. And I can be honest with you about that. I'm not. I'm America second. I'm God first, America second.
And what you're saying about putting aside the tribal interest for the corporate interest,
Yes.
that's absolutely the case. And that's the only way the country's going to stay together.
Exactly.
And
That's my concern.
And I absolutely agree with you. I would say, though, that the main challenge to that, a big challenge to that, is organized Jewry in America. I don't think Bill Ackman is capable of that. I don't think Sheldon Adelson is capable of that. I don't think Yoram Hazony is capable of that, for that matter. And many other, on the right and the left. And I see Jewishness as the common denominator. And you're right. It's not all Jewish people feel the same way. No one would say that, but that does seem to be the common denominator. And I just feel like it needs to be called out explicitly. And I like what you said the other day. If you're serving in another country's military or have dual citizenship, you really can't be a part of this project.
Well, that's an easy one. But
That is a pretty easy one. That's... But it's not just for them. That's all sides. That's all sides. Okay? And that's just smart. If you have someone running, a country, okay, you would want them to have sole interests in that country. I mean, that is a no-brainer. Because you don't want them, otherwise that country is not going to be that country anymore. It'll be someone else's country.
But I am much more comfortable as a Christian and an American keeping it on that level because, it's easy to just set universal rules that apply to everyone, not just the Jews or the Christians or anybody, just like Americans can only serve in the U.S. military or they lose their passport. I mean, I don't know. That's not hard. And
I'm going to call out real quick what Tucker said because it's subtle. It's very subtle, but I need to call it out because it is the order. Okay, and it is important. It's why I firmly believe that if I had the chance to debate it with him, in many ways I think he probably would. I think he would. Because he just said Christian and American. In his mind, it is probably already God first. Okay? One moment. I appreciate that. I appreciate he said Christian and American, not American and Christian. And that might seem small, but like I said, sometimes the small things are the most important.
I don't know. Why not just say that?
Say what?
That. Why not make every statement about how Americans ought to behave applicable to all Americans? Like it's the defense of universal values that will hold the country together and the emphasis on parochial group values that will break it apart inevitably.
Because this is a particular issue and it's acute. Like I said, I think they are unique in that way. I think that's a unique issue, especially in the Republican Party.
Yes, and he's going to push more from the Republican side. I still have to look at it from the whole Bible. The reason why the Republicans are in there is because of the Protestants in general. The Republicans are just the face, the political face of the Christian nationalism. And it can go either way. Okay? But many of those guys believe Third Temple. I don't know if all of them do. But I would say a lot of them. They're trying to push the United States to become a theocracy. So, it's what he's talking about. He and I agree. What the face of this is not good, and it's because they've taken a metaphor and they've made it literal. Like I said, when I see the weapons burning for 7 years, and not one child brings out a stick, a twig, not one, then I will believe it. Then I'll believe it. Otherwise, I'll just wait for Jesus to come, and I'm going to keep running up the hill, shouting at the Karens on their phones.
Especially in the conservative scene. And,
there.
you know, this...
So how would you like this all to be resolved?
Ooh.
What I would like is for the U.S. government to not be influenced by these kinds of foreign allegiances, not with money that comes from, you know, American citizens like Sheldon Adelson, not from foreign lobbyists. So, I mean, in terms of tangible things, I don't think we disagree on any of it, like registering AIPAC and FARA, banning dual citizenship.
And see, so straight political side, that's where I'll agree with him. But I've leaned that way for a long time. I was a Ron Paul fan. You know? I don't mind. I don't mind locking down the U.S. and getting it out of debt. Okay, anyone who is in debt, here's the first principle. Okay, you got to bring in income and you got to cut the credit cards. You got to cut them up. Okay, you got to stop using the credit cards or you're going to go back into debt. Okay, now there is a business principle that sometimes you have to spend money to make money. That is a true statement. Okay, but I can agree with him politically on that, 100%. I told you, I just want to be left alone. I just want to worship God. I want to talk about the Bible. I want to have my family. I want Jesus to come. I want to be left alone.
Like, I'm basically in agreement.
I think 80% of the public agrees with those things. So that's kind of what gets me a little bit annoyed. It's like, these are, like America First, the concept, it's the most popular, self-evidently true idea you could have.
It's because, okay, and I'm not directly quoting Asman, okay, but I feel the same, and his community feels the same, and other, like Fuentes, his community feels the same, and Tucker says 80%, okay? We want to see Old Testament answers. I am ready to see people being held accountable. I'm not going to truly take them seriously on this until I see people dragged out of office and taken to jail. Okay? That's when we know that they're truly going to be up and going. When we see that, it will happen. It just hasn't happened yet.
Don't let foreign powers, especially tiny ones far away, control your country. Yeah. Like, of course not. Mm. Everyone agrees with that on both sides.
Yeah.
So the trick is not to let that idea get subverted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think we agree on that.
But it's subverted when they're like, that's hate. No, that's hate. It's not hate.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, here's what I will say. I think that there is increasingly a contingent, because what you're talking about exists. When you say that there are people that legitimately detract from this, there is legitimate racial hatred out there.
Big time.
And it's growing. And
I know.
People on our side are afraid to talk about it because they know, like you said, they're going to get...
I don't think there's as much fear as there was. I think that's dying. I think it's rising. Okay, but it's gonna get worse, and it's gonna get more radicalized, especially on the Christian-Muslim front. Like, look at Dearborn right now. It's kind of died down the past couple of days. I'm not sure if they sent any troops or what has happened. I haven't dug for it, but I haven't seen anything immediately pop up.
Called a cuck or a squish or whatever. And I agree with you. The people that are detracting from that need to be called out. And I think there should be no harbor for cruelty, hatred, prejudice, those kinds of things.
And some of them, I'm sorry to be a conspiracy nut. I really try not to be a conspiracy.
But see, no, you shouldn't try. You shouldn't try. You need to embrace it, because eventually we're proven right. We're just not proven right yet, Tucker. We will be. It just takes time. that Epstein was possessed by Satan? I'm telling you what that chick said. I'm telling you. You're not crazy if they're after you, okay? And like I said, this is a guy who's done a lot of conspiracy digging. So no, you need to embrace it.
Because it's embarrassing, you know? But after January 6th and just finding out the number of FBI personnel in the crowd, it's like, and I've just seen this. David Duke is a great example. Some of these are the Charlottesville rally.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of feds there being like, we're white supremacists. We hate the blacks, you know, using the N-word, whatever. You know, it's like, that's not real. Like, there is some of that going on, don't you think?
I think that there's a lot of sincere people.
Well, for sure. Oh, I completely agree.
You know, and they're just numbskulls, and some of them are legitimately, they see the opening, that there's legitimate critique of this, and they see an opening to air out their grievances. They get a license to, they think it's okay now. And I do think it's important to differentiate and say that fundamentally, I guess the word that I would use, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, is reassurance, because I think there's a legitimate, there is legitimate need to reassure people. And this is kind of what I've been doing on these podcasts, that we don't want to harm anybody. We don't want to kill anybody. We don't want to harm anybody. Right. We just want to put America first. And
okay. See, I told you. Many times, okay? Many times, people, because they're stupid, many people are just stupid, they don't pay attention, okay? They just start demonizing someone over and over because they don't like something he said, and then the rest of the mindless mob goes with it, okay? And then everyone just knows him. This is a 100% perfectly reasonable thing. This right here. That guy. I gotta do it this way. Okay? That's not radical. That's common sense. This is the country we are in. Okay? We do not know specifically when Jesus is going to come. I really hope it's going to be soon. But there's a good chance I'm going to be stuck on this planet for the next 70 years. I have really good genes. Even with my alcohol and drug use, there's a good chance I'm going to be in my mid-90s. Okay? So I really want Trump to make it great for my retirement. Okay? I really do. If we're going to have a rise of Lamb like beast, we're going to stretch out like this end prophecy for the next 100-something years. And we start actually considering that Rangers universe, okay, it might actually be like, because that's where I have it going. But nonetheless, I mean, I think Jesus will come sooner, okay? But we must prepare, okay? We must look at both possibilities. We must hope, we must wait, we must wish for, and try to push, but at the same point, we are created beings. We are not the son of the living God, nor the creator of the entire universe. So we unfortunately will have to be patient. This is on their time frame, not our time frame. Okay, so I agree with him. We just want to put America first, and we don't want any violence. I might be the most radical Bible streamer. Okay. But I have never in any way stated to violence. In fact, I have stated the opposite. The opposite. 100%. Okay? We are not to be beating children to death with crosses. This happened. This shit happened. Okay? And now they are going to say, okay, political violence is rising. Okay? We saw the topic. Okay? The type of Christian I am forced to be. Okay? No, they chose. These people chose. They took the word force. They said, I don't have a choice. I'm not going to take accountability. And I'm just going to go use the Bible as a weapon. Okay, now I love this man. This man was a badass. Okay, I love Fred Rogers. Okay, the type of Christian I am. Okay? Now, remember, he had like 72 confirmed kills. This man wasn't a pussy, okay? He wasn't. This man was a badass, okay? And then he came back, he saw the horrors of sin and war, and he dedicated the rest of his life to helping children and people. Okay? There's a reason why this picture is used so much. Okay? Because it is true. And you say they won't repeat? Desperate people do desperate things. Why is political violence rising? And will this be used again? Grok says it's a reasonably high possibility coming up if we are at the end of the Roman Republic. If we are moving into a different phase in this country. Okay? And changes like that are long. Like I said, it could take 22 years. If the AI is right in its calculations, okay, and we were at a parallel from 2016 to now. In fact, we're already halfway through the 22 years. Shit, hold on. 12 years or whatever? 11 years? Huh. Okay. I'd have to go back and look at the exact thing the AI said. But nonetheless, I mean, my thesis, I'm not going to say that I have a shit ton of physical evidence. I don't have anything I could take before a court of law because it's still all speculative. Because we're talking futuristic probabilities. But I love predictions. I do. I'm just gonna officially say it. And it probably is going to be the tagline. Okay? I agree with Nick Fuentes. I do. This is not the face of an irrational, violent man. Okay? Believe me, I have been in dark alleyways and random houses and sitting next to... Is that next drunk people with teardrop tattoos going down their face? Okay? Like warlord status type of shit. Okay? This is not the face of one of those individuals. Now, he may not be politically correct, and he might speak against the Christian establishment, but that is not the face of someone who is that. Now, mind you, like I said, look at how his shirt ironed. Okay? His perception. How he looks is important. Okay? He is someone who deep down he wants to be respected, and he is intelligent. Okay? But his principles stand above it. See, I respect a man like this. And as I told you, behavioral analytics are not a science. When I do a read like that, okay, first off, it's not empathic, I'm not using any form of Satanism or whatever. God doesn't tell me. Like, that's not it. Okay? It's just mere behaviors. Okay, and perception and patterns. Okay, that's all it is. Is it 100% right? No. Is it right more often than it's wrong? People say that police shouldn't use racial or behavioral profiling. Well, that's stupid. It works. Is it exact? No. Should it be relied on 100%? No. But is it an accurate tool? Is profiling in general and trends an accurate tool? Yes. Yes. This is not the face of a violent extremist. Okay? And you could probably show me clips and you would say he showed this and he said this. Well, he was just asked flat out what he believed. And I think this guy's gotten a bad rap. Gents, I think this guy, okay, is being set up by the establishment down to being called a Fed. Remember, we embrace conspiracy theories. Bohemian Grove is fucking real. And Bush and Clinton danced naked together in front of a giant, big-ass owl. How do I know that? Some teen boy. Oh, why were there teen boys there? I wonder. Remember what we said about the furries? Remember the robes, the blue outfits, the wolf shit? I wonder why there was a teen boy there helping. But he snuck in a camera, and he climbed up the giant owl, and he looked out the giant owl's eyes. And there were a bunch of naked men dancing around a fire. And it just so happens there were a bunch of reporters outside who got glimpses of these presidents going in there. What a strange coincidence. Either the United States security is so lax that a bunch of hippies on acid got in there and danced around a fire, a bunch of Satanists, with our United States leaders having a professional conference a few hundred feet away, okay? Or all of the leaders, okay, actually are not on the side of God, worship owls. My ex-wife had a fascination with owls. I don't I love the bird. I love the bird for one of God's creations. But I don't have owls around anymore because I had to look at a lot of them. Mind you, she did practice Satanism. She did. She loved her owls. I have a mat. Still, a little, mat. I'll grab it one of these days. You know what? Hold on. You hold on. One moment. I'm even going to leave my mic on. I'll keep talking. All right. Hold on. That fucking shit. They were everywhere. All over my damn house. This is the chick that slit a goat's throat. She'll be pissed at me for saying that one, but it happened. She told me it happened in a basement in eastern Idaho, in front of a fucking altar. So don't you tell me that owls aren't there and the presidents didn't dance naked.
And I guess, to the extent that I've been taken out of context over the years or things like that, I'm trying to set the record straight and say, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. These are my real views. I'm not one of those haters, let's say.
And he doesn't appear to be. I've been with such irrational and crazy people that they would just lose it and start screaming at you. Okay. I've been around people who have threatened to stab me with a pencil. Okay, and you look into their eyes, and you see that. I look into that man's eyes right there. I don't see that shit. No. 100%.
Yeah, well, I think people should be allowed to describe what they think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like a basic human autonomy question.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to know what you think, I should just ask you and let you talk.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So who's going to be president? Who should be president next?
Oh, boy.
Who should be president? Well, yay, of course. Kanye.
Oh, no.
You had dinner with Trump.
I did.
And Kanye.
Yes.
Oh,
What did you think of that?
It was surreal. Because those are my two heroes. Those are my two, number one heroes of all time. I've always been a Kanye West fan.
You like the music?
I don't know a lot about Kanye West. I don't. I'm just not even gonna straight up comment on it just because I don't. I've seen I've seen things that I probably would agree with, and I have seen things that I probably would not agree with. Just reckless stuff. I have always, in many ways, been a Trump fan. Back to when I watched The Apprentice, just because I've always been a guy who has loved the idea of running businesses, corporations. Deep down, I'm a capitalist. I like creating ways of making money. And what I decided to do as the years went on was work hard enough so I wouldn't have to work. I could just live and be poor. That was my greatest way of around it, because I could never crack the way of actually like becoming a famous author or getting my books out there, like actually being with a publishing company. And so where I couldn't do that or get movies going, then that weird bird, strange bird just flew up next to it. I just, yeah. So I like Trump. Do I agree with everything he says? No. Will he make America great? Yes. Could he be the next emperor of the world? I think it will create entertaining content right before Jesus comes. I think it'll be good.
Music first?
Yes. The music, the fashion, everything.
Really?
Yes.
Do you wear those weird one-piece shoes?
I do.
You actually do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like in public?
Yes. You don't think that's cool?
No, I do. I don't know what
I have no idea what they're even talking about. I have no idea. See, he's older than me, but the problem is, I probably, deep down, am older than him. Because this is the guy who will, like, have handkerchiefs for, like, his suit and shit. Like, if I really go back to formal, we're going, like, I have Argyle socks. Like, I go back to, like, 50s. We're not, I don't care about his dinner with Trump and Kanye West. I think Vance is honestly going to be the next president, or Trump's going to be the emperor of the world. Either or, but it's probably, if we were talking about just straight political odds that I could bet on here and now and I would feel comfortable with, Vance. Probably. I think Vance and Hunter Biden would be an entertaining. See, I'm a content creator now. I'm a live streamer, so unfortunately, in the end, I still have to look at, what is good content. They tried to kill him. I'm sure they tried to kill him. I'm curious. I'm curious if it's from a scientific, control, religious. We haven't heard him talk about anything religious.
It's interesting, your audience, as I imagine it, I've never seen any of your numbers. I don't even know how big your audience is. It seems big to me, but I think of them as young men. Mm-hmm. That's the bulk of your audience, right?
Yes.
And yet here you are criticizing weed and video games and the internet, and you work on the internet. You are a creation. I mean, you wouldn't exist without the internet, of course. You didn't get a job at NBC News. So what kind of reaction do you get when you criticize weed, gaming, and the internet to young men?
A lot of them agree with it because they get it. It's their life. A lot of them, that's their life. Their life is, and another thing we didn't even bring up is the porn thing, which is there also. This is their life. Weed, gaming, porn. And I think they know it's bad. I think they know there's like some sense of guilt. And so.
Okay. So once again, this is not the face of a radical, violent extremist, okay? This is common sense. Okay, guys, this is common sense, okay? It's talking about taking these things, okay, down here, and we're moving them up here, okay? You're making them an idol, okay? There are people that do spend way too much time gaming. That's their life, okay? There are people that spend too much time smoking. Smoking weed, though, falls still under health laws. Okay, unless you make it the idol, unless you put it above God. Okay, but there are many people who do. And then the internet. Yes, I am online. I am talking to you on a live stream right now. Okay, but let's face it, the internet has been really good and has been really bad at the same time. Okay, on multiple levels. And there are people who just spend social media specifically. Okay. I said there's good and bad things. Social media is one of those bad things that has come out of the internet. That back in the 90s, it was weird guys who were on there in their basement. Suddenly, then we get to all women in general are on their phones. Okay? So I would say cell phones and internet were a pretty big game changer.
Oh. It's interesting. I would say it's maybe an 80-20 split, where 20% say, oh, you're against weed? Not cool, man. It's just a plant. Well, they're very defensive about it, about these addictions. And I think 80% say, I know I have a problem.
But see, you have to look at the word addiction. And remember, this came from a PhD psychologist. Okay? I didn't just make this shit up. Okay? Because I drank. I drank heavy. Super heavy. And everyone told me that I had to have someone else to help me with my problem. When finally someone just told me that I could put it down. Okay? All drugs have consequences. It's not just a plant. I've done a shit ton of marijuana. Okay? Shit ton. Okay? And I have drank probably Tucker Carlson's body weight in vodka alone. Okay? Truth. So, it can be turned, no matter what, it can be turned into the idol. What time are we at here? 2:24. Let's take a quick break. We'll throw some more on, because we're going to be going through these two sections anyway. We're gonna do this one as well. This is a big topic, and this is not something that a lot of people like to talk about. Okay? And it's mostly because men take it so hard from women, when men honestly need to talk. I mean, women have their own problems with this. Okay? Okay, in fact, women have even probably bigger problems than men do. We're going to be really honest, because women can't admit they have a problem with reading material. Okay? You don't believe me? Go look up Milking Farm. You don't believe me? Go look it up. Go watch Shoe on Head's video about it. Go watch Aspen's reaction. Go watch anyone's reaction. Okay? But we will watch that. Okay? But it always has consequences. Always.
Like, I have a guilty conscience. I know it's bad. I know it's terrible.
Why are you against weed?
Because I think that it's compromises the integrity of your mental faculties. I think there's something deeply...
Oh, damn it. I wish I had a moderator. I wish I had someone who could go back right now and pull that damn clip, because I said that. You say that anyone who disagrees with behavioral analytics right now, I told you it was control. I told you. He says mental faculties. Right here, he says mental faculties. Mind. It is a loss of control. He wouldn't drink either. He wouldn't do cocaine. He wouldn't do shrooms. Okay, this is a guy who... Yep. Mm-hmm. Which I respect him for that. I'm not saying that he is necessarily wrong. Okay? I'm not telling you he is wrong. I'm just saying that I called that shit just by the way his hair is and his suit.
Wrong with that. When you... I'm against alcohol, too. I think it's wrong to numb pain. I think pain is a part of life. I think sobriety is should be...
And I'm with him on that. Okay, I drank for a lot of years to get numb and just not to be here. So, I'm with him. I am with him on that. I don't hang around with a lot of drinkers anymore, because drinkers are irrational. Remember what I said about the Karens.
Experienced. And I think that weed is even worse, because I think that, one, it's very dangerous. There's a lot of numbers now out of California and Washington that people are going to the hospital for psychosis. People are going crazy because of it.
It's also more subtle and therefore more insidious. You can't, I've done it. If you have a, 12-pack for breakfast, everyone knows.
Remember the opening, I'm going to quote this. Remember the opening song we listened to, Phantoms. Alright? Who says they're going crazy because of marijuana? One moment. Who says they're going crazy? There's marijuana. There are demons in here.
But if you take...
But that's where I don't think he would necessarily call me crazy. He wouldn't call me crazy for saying that. He would think that would probably be interesting. Fuentes probably would call me crazy for saying that.
A hit off the dab pen like nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use it all the time.
Yeah, and it makes you a loser. It makes you lazy, you know.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay. This is coming from a control freak. This is the one time I'm actually just going to straight up tell him he's wrong. Okay? This was the lie that all the Karens told. Okay? They put the commercials on there. I remember them. Okay? You have multiple types of strains. And you have different effects. Now, I have known guys that just want to be zombies and sit on a couch. I hate that shit. Okay? I clean. So fuck you, Fuentes. Okay? When I was drunk on Everclear, okay, I cleaned, okay? I'm drunk actually a lot, I cleaned, okay? And I love sativas because I'm a hyperactive son of a bitch. So I want to always be functioning. I never want to be down, okay? So going higher and higher was always the goal. I just hated caffeine drops, caffeine pills and stuff. The crashes fucked with me where weed didn't. So, no. Now, mind you, if you are truly fucking stoned all the time, should you drive? No. Can you drive and be truly motivated? Probably not, but that's taking it once again to an extreme. Okay? I'm just saying, this comes from someone who has always kept mental faculties. My opinion of it is someone who spent a decade trying to leave this plane of existence. And who, in many ways, succeeded.
People that are addicted to weed are not motivated, don't care about anything other than weed. You know, there's sort of like an irony there where
No. It's like, so that is the idolatry. And someone who with alcohol, someone with especially heroin, meth, acid. I can't say that word. There's a word I was going to say, but I'll probably get banned. I can't say that word. There's a drug I can't say. It starts with a D.
I used to hang out with a lot of stoners in high school. I never smoked weed, but all my friends did. And they were so chill and relaxed and didn't care about anything. But
okay, I want you to look at me right now. Okay? Okay? You should watch me pace with a cigarette and bong in my hand. You should watch me debate. Okay? Just because your friends were fucking lazy doesn't mean I was or other people that I knew. Okay? I didn't hang around with lazy people. I've always tried to hang out with intellectual people. Okay? I don't just hang out with anyone. Okay? If I'm just going to hang out with anyone, I'll just hang out with myself. I know that sounds narcissistic, but I'm an author.
If you criticized weed, they would freak out and get extremely defensive.
Yes, I've noticed.
Right? If you
now, mind you, like I said, I told you it's bad. I never said it was healthy. It definitely destroys short-term memory. Okay, we know that. We know that. I have trouble with names. I do, and it's because of the amount I smoked. I'm not saying there is not a penalty. There is always a penalty. I'm just saying that in this specific case right now, he is taking the view of a non-user, and he doesn't understand what he's looking at. Okay? It's like a person, okay? It's like a pastor or a Christian telling you how demons talk or possession when they've never actually talked to a demon. Okay? It's speculation. It's speculation. Okay? They honestly have no idea what they're fucking talking about. They have no idea. Don't tell me what you saw on TV. Okay? They would burn your animals in front of you. You have no idea how evil they are. That having something inside your head changes you in some ways. Okay? People going crazy on marijuana? I don't think it's the weed, man. There's crazier things out there than that. I know. My arch nemesis, remember? Remember that douchebag? I'm still not going to say his name. You don't know who my arch nemesis is. You're not paying attention to the show. Fuck that motherfucker. Okay?
Insinuate that it's addictive. If you say it's a problem, they get very like junkie behavior.
I don't.
And so
See, I don't. I just think he's wrong. I think that there was more to the lens. Is it great? No. Okay. Am I going to 100% defend it? No. Okay. Have I been at some points in my life so damn stoned I could barely stand? Yes. Yes. Where I just fell asleep randomly somewhere? Yes. Okay. Was that great for me? Absolutely not. I questioned at one time that I didn't have so much that I might have almost like either had a stroke or something. Because like the next day, and it took months. Like I had issues. And I actually quit smoking for a specific certain like amount of time. This happened years ago, and it affected me so much I actually couldn't even write. I had to almost retrain. I had trouble at work. I had trouble with anything, and it was because I went so hardcore. And it might have been lack of oxygen. Who knows? Because I would also hold my breath too. And so lack of oxygen is the other thing that can really hit you. When they say that you can be perma-stoned, it's true, but it's not the marijuana that does it necessarily. It is the lack of oxygen which fucks up your brain. So it's not just the chemical, okay? And I don't know how much of an actual scientific background he has into it. I never went to school for it, but I'm going to be honest, any drug or anything I've ever done, I've read. I've done a lot of reading into it. Even drugs I haven't done, I have done a shit ton of reading into it. There are days I'll just sit down and I'll pull up an article and I'll just zoom. Because I told you, learning is good. Why are we watching this? I told you, I wanted to learn. And I have learned a great deal. But in this instance, he is wrong. He is wrong. He is looking at very singularly, just one-dimensional. There is variety, there is flavor. I think Tucker would agree with me.
Always hated it. I think it's disgusting.
What is porn exactly? Like, describe
Okay.
how available is porn? What is it? I know what porn.
It is the internet. It is everywhere. It is social media. There are always workarounds. If you pay for it, you're retarded. Because it is everywhere. It is nearly impossible to avoid in this world. And we are told that we can't help it, therefore, the battle's over. You can't even choose.
But like you said, it's a huge factor in the lives of young men and a bad factor. Why?
Well, this is another thing where it's reality distortion.
Yep.
That's kind of the theme. Just like psychedelics distort reality, just like a kind of internet society is a form of delusion, so is porn.
It is. It is. Okay? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been a partier. I slept around. I have been married twice. Okay? And I've watched a shit ton of adult content. Okay? It's not real. No matter how much you try to make what you see on that screen real. Okay? And you can get somewhat close sometimes. Okay? It's still not. Okay? You're not going to be able to go and look at 100 different women. Guess what? God designed you to have one. And you should be happy with that one. Okay?
In the sense that, a lot of people maybe don't realize, and we talked about this a little bit, people are getting turned on to porn when they're like 10 years old.
He's too young. He's too young, okay? And he's smart, but he's too young. Of course that was happening. That's the internet. That was back in the 90s and 2000s.
And when you are going through puberty, when you're developing your sexual faculties, how could you stay away from that? Every kid has a phone, every kid has an iPad, and every iPad and phone is, if you know what it is, loaded up with porn. And it's infinite, and it's ubiquitous, and you can get every kind of it you want, whenever you want. It's in your pocket. And so something that is almost never talked about is that this is a generation that's totally sexually dysfunctional, I think, because of pornography. And some people are able to cope.
Yes. He is one. That is 100% right. What did I say at the beginning of this? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay? And if you are not looking at just straight adult material, well, guess what? Okay? Some weird-ass random chick is on some bikini on your social media page, and you didn't even ask for it. Okay? That's the nice thing about my X page. At least that shit hasn't happened yet. Facebook, I still have to go through and fix the algorithm.
With it. Some people don't have a problem. But I think a lot of people, and maybe even a small minority, have a serious problem with it.
I don't think. I'm going to actually be a little more extreme than him in this. I think that the extreme problem is a little bit higher than any of us really want to talk about. And this is just men. Okay? I've already stated. Women have a bigger problem right now because they can't even admit they have a problem. So we're not even going to talk about milking farm. You want that? That's a different day. Okay? Go watch Shoe on Head's video. You want to know how bad women have it. Okay? But guys, okay, as a man, okay, if you are a man, a God-created man, okay, and through the power and the Spirit of God, you want to say no to something, you can say no. You want to pick up the drink or you want to put it down? There is no one who forced you to do it. Okay? Remember, this is the same type of idiocy that's this. Okay? If you say you were forced to pick up the cross and beat the child, you're stupid. You're part of that 2% group that said that Sabbath, was for the Jews. Okay? You're one of those 5 people we looked at on there that is utterly and completely brain dead. I'm sorry. But it is the truth. You have told yourself a lie. The lie has been there long enough, and now it is your reality.
And the
How
problem,
does it make people sexually dysfunctional?
I think that it's impossible for a real woman to compete with the availability and the knowledge.
Yes. It's impossible. It's impossible. Especially with AI. It's impossible.
Novelty of pornography. A real woman, like without getting graphic, she's only one person, and maybe she wants to do something sexual, maybe she doesn't. Porn is, you could have 100 different women in one sitting doing anything. That whatever niche or idiosyncratic thing a person might be into, it's there. And so I think that novelty combined with that availability, and
it unfortunately, it is so sad, and it is an evil. Okay? And just like David staring over the wall of Bathsheba bathing, okay, this is something that it creeps up. David didn't just go and sleep with her. David probably stood there for a few months and watched her. Okay? And we know what he did. That was his version of porn at the time, okay? We know that. It was one of the greatest mistakes he ever made. A child died. An innocent man was murdered, okay? And all his shit with Absalom and everything that followed was because of it.
Makes it so that, when you think about courting a woman, juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Ooh. I have not heard that word in a while. I'm proud of you, Nick. That is the biblical. Modern dating is not the biblical. In fact, true biblical is patriarchal and arranged marriages, but that's a different topic for a different time. But courting, more 1800s courting, very low physical contact, and sleeping with each other until after marriage. That is a very biblical thing. You very rarely hear. See, now I'm starting to understand why I have heard that his group is very strong conservative, Christian national conservative, and pushing old school values like that. Which I don't disagree. Like I said, I don't disagree with. He could have even just said patriarchal system and gone with arranged marriages. It's well, we can go with that. That's the Bible. Like I said, my only point, the only reason why I am a radical streamer, the most radical Bible streamer, okay, is because I just say to follow the entire Bible. That's the only reason. Okay? And the reason why I am not at a 10 is because no one knows I exist. It's actually going to be really funny when people do. You just wait. You guys are getting the pre-game show now.
And so there's also a problem of erectile dysfunction. People that can't enjoy regular sex.
Okay. But I'm going to be honest. Oh, I shouldn't have done this video. Because I have to tell you the truth, and I'm not going to be super, super crude, but I have to be honest with you. Erectile dysfunction. Okay, we're going to talk about two things. Okay, two very, very, very easy things, okay? Erectile dysfunction and curvature of your dick. Okay, we're going to talk about this, okay? Because what he is talking about, I'm just going to go one step further than him, okay? And we're going to be honest with it. Too much jacking off is bad, okay? First off, it curves your dick. If you use the same hand over and over, okay, you wonder why it's going a different way after the years go by. That's not natural, okay? It's because you've used the same hand too much and you go 5 times a day and it's cartilage. You have literally trained the cartilage to change. Erectile dysfunction is because you have gone 5 times a day for the past week and you now can't do anything else. Okay? Maybe you should take a few days off. Okay? Take some zinc. Zinc is great for especially male hormonal balance. You have problems with it? I'm serious. Just to go buy zinc. Zinc, tablets. Okay? Medical tablet. You just go to the store. Okay? Make sure to take it on a with food. Otherwise, it burns the shit out of your stomach. Okay? You will notice a difference in your hormonal levels. Okay? I don't talk a lot about my naturopathic background. Okay? Or a lot of the cures that me, my family, so forth, we have found through just using the things on God's earth. Okay, because I don't have certifications. It's not the main part of this channel. But I do have a wide knowledge in it. Okay? Zinc is one of these things that will actually help you. I have found it making a big difference in my own life. And just in this specific conversation. It actually is a pretty big game changer.
Because it does not compare to the intensity, the novelty, and the availability of porn.
Those are 3 things, okay? Those are 3 things, okay? But I'm still telling you, erectile dysfunction, anyone can get erectile dysfunction after 30 when they go, or even 25 probably, when they go that long. Your body just wasn't built for it. It wasn't. God did not design your body for that. Also, it's just not as good. If you wait a week and do it in comparison to every day, the week is better. It's just harder. But it's actually better. I promise you. I'm a married man.
It's hyper stimulation. And so I think that's sabotaging a lot of normal sexual relationships.
It seems like it's making a lot of people gay, too.
Yeah, and trans.
You think that's true?
100%.
I have heard people say, I'm 50. See, the problem, here's my problem. Here's my problem with this comment, okay? Is that he doesn't, he's just looking at it from the literal. Okay, remember what I look at it from. You're looking at a guy who has talked to demons. We'll just say that one. We'll just say that one. Just say talk to demons. Okay. My world is what you can't see. My world is illusion. Because my enemy can't physically be touched. Yet he speaks. Okay? Yet his actions are clear. Okay? The object flying across the room in anger and hatred is clear. Okay? He's there. I know he's there. I just physically can't see his full form because he's invisible to me. Because he cheats, because my arch nemesis is a fucking dick. Okay? So no. Remember, Satan will do anything that is anti-God. Okay, if we're looking from a literal Bible standpoint, trans and gay is an abomination to the Lord. I'm sorry, I have friends that are gay. I don't care if you're gay. You just can't claim Christianity. You just can't. You can't. It's impossible. Because you have to rip out so many books of the Bible. It is an abomination. Period. Period. But I could say that it could probably be more from demonic influence, and the same thing we could be looking at serial killers. Many have said the same thing. I forget, what was his name? Was he a bomber? Bundy. It was Bundy. Ted Bundy talked a lot, I believe, in his interviews about pornography, and that is what led him down the path in serial killing. But it's not just that. Like, these are symptoms. These are symptoms of it. Okay? The reality is there was a being behind him pushing and telling him where to go. Okay? And because he did not rely on the one source to save him, Jesus, okay, then you will be over control. Okay? You'll be in their control. We can do nothing against them. Nothing. If you think you can say something, or cast some spell, or have some rune, or whatever, you are utterly retarded. These are beings, okay, one angel killed 100,000 Assyrians. Fuck your secret knowledge. You're a fucking moron. This is the chief of the angels. This creepy lurker, okay? This king of the Nevrons, okay? That douchebag at one time actually stood on the left hand of the Father, of the creator of the universe, okay? And he was loved more than any of the others. He might very well be the first created being. We don't know. I don't think in God's logic God would start small and perfect it. I think God is so powerful he could create that and say, well, here's this top one, he's going to be the leader, and now we're just going to make a bunch of different varieties. Okay? We'll do a talk about angels we'll do a show about angels one of these days. I really want to look up the word and actually go through the Bible and see what the Bible says about angels. Truly. And redo it. I've already kind of done the study once, but we will do it again. I think, like I said, Fuentes is looking at it from a straight, literal, scientific, which you can see in front of your face. Okay? That's what he's saying. Okay? And mind you, if I have said anything wrong here, okay, I will apologize. As always, I will apologize. I'll get on my show, and I will say I did this, and I shouldn't have done this. And I was wrong. I got a little bit fiery, and he didn't. But as you guys just saw, I predicted just via his suit, the way his suit is set up, how he's dressed, and his haircut, and why he would never, ever smoke weed or drink. Okay? I called that shit before he ever said it. So, sorry, still coughing a little bit. I don't want to cough into the mic. This is I think in ways he is right in his statement. We're just gonna say he's right, okay? But I think that the root cause he doesn't understand because he is not looking in that direction. That's the only reason. He sees the effect. Okay, we're talking about gravity for a second, because I heard someone say the other day that gravity is a law. Okay, no, the effect of gravity is a law. If I picked up my cup and I dropped something right now, okay, that is the effect of gravity. Not gravity. It's one of those fun things for you to rattle around in your mind and say, Dougie, that's stupid. And it's like, but you're thinking about it now, aren't you? You're thinking about that stupid way of looking at that scientific law. And soon you're going to agree with me.
What is that?
I think that the novelty is a huge part of that. I think that if you are somebody that uses pornography multiple times per day, which many people do.
Actually?
Oh,
Yes.
Absolutely.
How does he not know this?
That's a lot of jerking off.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
It's hours. It is hours of your life gone.
And, you know, if you're doing that multiple times a day, every day, for years, since you're a kid, well, eventually you get bored.
Yeah.
And you want to move on to something more extreme. And you're kind of, it operates, I think, similar to like a drug.
Because it is a drug. Because it's dopamine. Because that is no different than picking up a cigarette in the end. No different.
You kind of have the same kind of resistance to it that you would to a drug, or a tolerance for it.
Tolerance. Thank
And
you.
you're always
Thank you.
chasing that.
See, you can always tell the non-drug users because they never use the right terminology. Okay, they never do. Okay, it's why a cop always stands out. They try to be clean. Okay, but they always walk in asking for like something like a crack pipe. Well, a crackhead's not going to walk into a store asking for a crack pipe. A crackhead is underneath the bridge making a crack pipe. Okay? With fire and talking to invisible people around him. But they're there. Phantoms.
Initial feeling the first time you used it, or the first time you saw a certain thing. And I think eventually you just chase more taboo, more transgressive. And I think maybe some people are more prone to that than other people,
Yes.
going in a really extreme
this
direction.
is how Charlie Sheen got AIDS, actually.
Yeah.
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 Through just being jaded and looking for something more transgressive. That's just a fact.
And there's
That's de-evolution. That's debauchery. That's sin. That's just it. They're not looking at the root. They're not looking at the root of the problem. They see this big-ass vine here, okay, and they say, well, that's a problem. That's poison ivy. That's a big-ass fucking vine, okay? But they don't look down. Where's the vine growing from? If I cut off the root of the vine, the sin itself, this won't be a problem anymore.
something too about what it does when you look at it. Because people don't realize that it is a fundamentally different experience being involved in intercourse versus watch.
Yes. Yes. He is 100% correct. He is 100% correct.
Watching other people have intercourse. And I think that actually does something to you.
Tell me, what do you mean?
Chemical
I think
change.
that, for example, I think Steve Saylor has written about this.
Warps. The best word I could probably tell you would be warp. It warps your thinking. It shifts, like it doesn't destroy it. It shifts it. I said, the sad truth is, this is a hard conversation for really anyone to have, especially live, because you have to admit that you have been in this situation. You have to admit it. I had a hard drive full, terabyte of whatever the hell I wanted, because you think I would just rely on people to have it online? Of course not. Who do you think you're looking at here? Of course I would download it, and of course I would save it for later, and of course I would have it wherever the hell I wanted, whenever I wanted. If I wanted to go jack off to something in the woods, well, guess what? I didn't have to have an internet connection. You think I'm dumb or something? No, of course not. I'm a resourceful individual. Of course it does this. Of course it's multiple times.
There's multiple kinds of transsexuals. And he says that one kind of transsexual is somebody that likes the idea of seeing themselves as a woman. It's autogynephilia.
Yes.
And I think that, one of the theories for that is you watch a man having sex with a woman that isn't you so much, you kind of achieve an identity with the woman in like a weird, sick way. You almost identify with the woman.
Yep, warps.
And so there's weird...
So it doesn't crush, it doesn't destroy your thinking, but it changes it, it manipulates it. The best word I can say, it warps it, it bends it.
Weird things that happen when you're
Yes.
watching that and having such strong emotional and sexual experiences with it.
That's fascinating. I've sensed for a long time, having had a lot of young male employees mention porn as a problem. I mean, the big porn companies give visibility to foreign intel services on the back end. Really? So that means people know what you're looking at. There's likely video and audio of you watching. So that, that's like such a deal killer for me. I'm not a huge expert on the topic, but I have always sensed this was a huge deal, but I've always been too embarrassed to do a show on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like you're describing something that's everywhere, that affects everybody.
But see, what Tucker says, and he is, I do not, okay, I want to be very clear here. I do not speak badly against him for saying that whatsoever, that he was too embarrassed to do a show on it. I don't. This is a hard thing even for me right now at my point in my life. 10 years ago, I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have done this type of reaction. Or been able to look at you and say, yeah, I did. And it was to such a point at times in my life that it possibly was, it controlled me and was more dangerous for me than alcohol or any other drug or substance that I have done. I'm serious. And so I do not in any way look down on him for not doing that. Hey, Tucker. The sad truth is, and mind you, I don't have any experience in the actual adult film industry. We're looking at a guy who's dug through. You don't want to know the shit I've seen, unfortunate but true. Just curiosity. That's all it was. Simple curiosity. Boredom. And so sin. Okay? I didn't say it was right, but I have done it. You want to talk to someone who's actually looked in there? Can tell you all the different things? Tell you all the power words? Okay? Do you know there's power words for every type of different film? That they all have these specific things you're going to hear? Did you know that? Like, I could spend the rest of my life watching it with just what is available right now. All varieties, right now, I would grow old and not be done. And I could do it without spending a dime. Except on internet and electricity and lubricants. See, and see, if I were, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it. Right? If I were to be interviewed by you, if, highly unlikely, that is one of those 1 in a million. That's like that dream interview thing, okay? Because, like I said, this is the only guy I would ever trust to do that. I would keep it clean. I would do my best. I would behave. Your show is, interesting. I like it, but I am the most radical Bible streamer. Why am I the most radical Bible streamer? It's because I'm trying to get people to get off the burning ship. The world is burning. And maybe we just need to get to the chopper, people. Tucker, I'd walk you through it. Shit, you didn't believe that I had the capability of doing it? I'd just show you. I would give you the resources and tell you actually just how to find it. Just email me. Email me. You want to know? You want the quick 5-page summary? Shit. And do that tonight.
That is, do you think it's related to the huge decline in like actual sex and relationships and marriage, screwed up dating? All of this derives in part from porn, do you think?
I think it's a huge part of it. It's a huge factor. And it's even on the other side, too.
It is the tool Satan is using. On the other side, too. Oh. We just... Yes. And in fact, we have talked about this, that it is so bad for women, okay, that they have it worse than men at this point in this category, and it's because they can't admit they have a problem. They can't admit that their books are worse than anything I have seen on DeviantArt. Their books are worse. That it's just, read it. Go read it. Go read it and go watch, go spend 5 minutes on any one of these sites online. Any site you pick. Don't care. Go pick a random page for Milking Farm. Dare ya. Their stuff is just more extreme than ours. Okay? We're visual. They need a story. They need 1,000 pages of information. Of course they have a problem. And it's worse than men. He doesn't know.
It's become so destigmatized for women to actually participate in porn. People don't even recognize that OnlyFans is a whole separate category.
It is. That he is right. He is right. And you'd be surprised. I'm actually not against OnlyFans. If women want to do that, that profession has been going on for a very, very long time. It's their choice. I don't give two shits.
It's an innovation in the realm of pornography, because you have what everyone knows as porn, which is like...
It's the next step. It's the next step. It's the girlfriend experience. It's the escort that the common man who makes $15 an hour can buy. Yeah.
Videos of porn stars, like dedicated career sex workers having sex in a relatively controlled environment or something like that. But then you get OnlyFans, which is like Patreon for nudes or sex. And basically, there's now a very large subculture, much larger than people want to admit, of women who the moment they turn 18, that is what they do.
But this subculture was always there. Okay, it's no different than what we've said about the Christian nationals. The Christian nationals have always been there. They're just showing themselves. This culture has always been there. This culture has been there for, you know what? Probably pre-flood. This shit's been floating around. Probably pre-flood, okay? This ain't new. This shit ain't new.
Make an OnlyFans account and they become an amateur porn star. And it is completely casual.
It's been normalized.
Because you could say that maybe 10 years ago, even at the heyday of internet porn, to be in porn, you got to be a porn star. Like, that's your life, and that's your career, and that's who you are, and it's very shameful. With OnlyFans, it's like having a TikTok. It's like, here's my link tree. here's my Instagram account, here's my Facebook account, here's my YouTube, and here's my OnlyFans.
Why would any of this be legal?
I think that, well, there's, like you indicated, maybe there's an intelligence benefit to that.
Yeah.
An intelligence benefit. Satan's intelligence. His master plan.
Maybe there's a political benefit to that. I think that
Well, why wouldn't you arrest the people who run something like that?
they should be. If you had a Christian government,
Or how,
Oh no. Oh, he said it. Uh-oh, he said it. Did he just say theocracy? Not in so many words, but a Christian government. And what do Christian governments have? Don't they have laws? Like for days of worship, probably? Be careful that nationalism does not turn to idolatry. It is written, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." It is written.
what is the government that cares about its people? I mean, is Iran a bigger threat or is OnlyFans? Iran's not turning my daughters to prostitution that I'm aware of.
right?
Right? I mean, that seems like one of the worst things that could happen to any society.
Oh, absolutely.
So how big is the support for that? Like if a candidate were to come out and say, we ought to arrest the guys who own MindGeek, which is the biggest, I think it's the biggest porn supplier in the world, or the guys who run OnlyFans, what would the reaction be among, I don't know, people under 50?
They're not based in the
I think there would be broad support for that.
Really?
I do, actually,
I think
yes.
I hope
is
someone
right.
will say that.
He is right. I think that it is shifting around enough that I think it would happen. But a lot of these guys, and especially the servers, are not based in the U.S. U.S. can say all they want. You can put, I mean, even now, there are VPNs. They did this years ago. You have to get a VPN or whatever to look at many of the sites in a lot of the more conservative states. You can't even go there. They've blocked it. Well, guess what? I just tell the computer I'm in another country and I get through. You know, it's not that difficult. Okay? So they're still there, and even if they shut down the entire industry here, the videos that have been done as stated, I could grow old and still have content.
And
Someone needs to.
I hope someone arrests them, like right away.
Yeah. That was actually
Seizes
one of
their assets and puts them in prison.
seizes their bodies and puts them in jail. Yeah, I mean,
The owners of that, people who are, I mean, talk about human trafficking.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought we were against human trafficking.
Yeah. Well,
So you think that young people, because you always think of young people as so liberal, but like, no, they
Not
wouldn't think
now.
that was crazy?
no, I think especially among young men, they know it's a problem. It's ruining their lives,
We all know it's a problem.
and they know it.
So what are the other factors that prevent, I'm sorry I called you gay, by the way, but I'm always, I think I'm just too old or something. I'm like, what?
I can't believe he called him gay. I don't know if he meant it literal, he just used it as a slang term.
Why is anyone married? You tell me, why aren't people married?
Oh boy.
Well,
Oh boy. And this is the other side of the porn conversation, okay? It's because the toxicity of women in the feminist culture in the past 10 to 15 years has been shit. Okay? Believe me, when we talk about dealing with that, I would rather be alone and look at porn. I would. God has been gracious to me, and I now have a very happy marriage. But prior to that, and going out and dating and being in the world, no. There were many years I did agree to be single. I said, I'll do whatever. Go do whatever. Who cares?
I mean, honestly, it's the women. The women are extremely liberal. No one talks about that.
Toxic.
Increasingly, they do, especially after the last
Oh.
election. There's a
Asman does. He clearly doesn't listen to Asman. Asman talks about that shit all the time. He says Karens are the greatest national security threat ever. And I can't state that he's wrong. He's not wrong. They will protect us from ourselves. It's like like iRobot, the AI there, how they enslaved the human race. Karens.
45-point difference between men and women. The men are extremely conservative, increasingly. The women are extremely liberal.
What are they liberal on? What issues? Like, what does that mean?
Okay, so funny thing, I believe this will happen. Patriarchal system's coming back, gentlemen. Women have ran this show long enough, and unfortunately, patriarchal system's coming back. Doesn't mean I will vote for it. Doesn't mean I 100% truly support it. Parts of me say it is deserved after the shit show we've had for 10 to 15 years. Okay? Part of me says that how hard this curve will come back. Okay? It is somewhat deserved. Okay? Doesn't matter if I like it, dislike it, or whatever. Okay? The point is that it probably will happen. Okay? And he said it. He just said it.
Mean liberal?
Oh, they're very feminist.
Like, actually?
Yes.
Extremely feminist, yes.
Tucker, where have you been? Damn it, man.
I don't believe that, do they?
I think they do.
Really?
Absolutely,
How could
yes.
you believe that?
I
The
think
gender roles are a construct, that none of this is inborn? Like, you'd have to be an idiot to think that.
they like the idea of it.
Because they are! Thank you! Finally, someone using the appropriate word. The bottom of the intelligence scale. Thank you. Thank you, Tucker.
They like because, of course, I think all women naturally want strong men.
Of course, obviously.
They naturally want a Chad. You know,
Yeah.
they want like a tall, buff guy. But I think
I'll be probably a little more vocal on this part than normal. Normally, I just kind of let this one slide, but we're probably going to be a little more vocal on this than normal. I understand exactly what he's saying. I'm not over 6 feet. I'm 5'11". I'm super close to 6 foot, but because I'm not really big, muscular, I've always been, like, turned aside. Women are incredibly visually oriented and very picky. Okay? And then they try to tell you that it's all inside. Yeah, it's inside as long as the outside looks good.
they like the idea of none of them want to work either. None of them
That's
actually
what I'm
want
saying.
to work.
No, that's what
but-
I'm saying. Of course.
It's called wanting your cake and eating it too.
That's of course,
Right.
It's obviously true. It's always been true. Work outside the home.
Right.
They don't have enough work at home. You know, there's
Yes.
a lot to do. But no, I completely agree. So that's why I question, like, their feminists in what sense?
Yes. And, you know, they like these vague appeals to equality. We want a chance to work and we want respect. And, you know, ultimately, I think the whole political system is just based around women never being accountable for any of their choices.
I want you to look at this face very carefully here, okay? And we're going to do this a little more theatric, okay? Just a little more theatric. Hold on. Will it let me go in? Okay? I want you to look at this face right here. Right here. Okay? Does that look like the face of a radical extremist? No. This is someone who is actually making sense right now. For any of their choices. Unfortunately, the liberal woke Karen community, and probably including the Christian Karen community, the Karen community in general, this is a problem. And it might be spreading as a cancer to the rest of the gender. They can't with porn. They cannot with adult content. They cannot admit that there is a problem. Why would they for anything else? Why would they when they have pushed it on the other gender for the past 15 fucking years? I'm done with it. Now that they are falling off the cliff, like I said, I really don't want to push them. I'm hoping they just fall on their own. But if it requires that I Spartan kick, I fucking knock them 2-something feet flying off the cliff, Okay? I will apologize to God later. They are evil. They demasculinize men and they cut off the genitals of children. Fuck them. And then the other side, okay, the Christian Karen side, okay? And they all moral police. All of them moral police, okay? But the Christian Karen side does it in the name of God. And worships on the wrong day. Idolaters, blasphemers. Okay? And they're inaccurate. And obnoxious.
Ultimately, that seems to be that's what abortion is.
Yeah, of course.
Because 99% of abortions are elective.
Oh, no. I so hope these guys see this. I so hope, because both of these gentlemen, okay? I'm so glad I took today and watched this. I like him. He may not like me. If he hears me speak, he may not like me. But Nick Fuentes, I like you. I do. You and I could sit down, and we could have probably a 2 to 3 hour conversation very easily, and we could get up and walk away. Would we agree? Not on everything, clearly. Okay? But would we probably sit down in the next 6 months and do something like that again? Yes, because I think we would have fun. Same with Tucker. Okay? Hear this, gentlemen. Take this on the abortion side. Child sacrifice. I'm throwing true idolatry back. Golden calf, Baal 2.0 is here, gentlemen. But instead, Moloch. That Moloch shit, guess what? It's just now in a pill. Or it's at a doctor's office. Pharmakia. Witchcraft. Ponder that. Ponder that. Yes, he is right. It is not accepting accountability. He is right. And it's not just women, it is men. It's both. Okay? That's what abortion is. Okay? Whether they decide together or whoever decides it. Okay? Is that. Now, if you disagree and you want to go have an abortion, like I've made my views on abortion insanely clear. I don't care. I don't care. You want to go commit child sacrifice, go commit child sacrifice. Just know it's a problem with God. Just know. It is murder.
So they say it's an unplanned pregnancy. You had sex out of wedlock with someone you didn't intend to have kids with. So now we have to kill the kids in the womb. And, you know...
And I hate to say this, but in some ways, I am happier that they're going with God. Jesus did warn, woe to those who give suck. At the end of days, Matthew 25, Matthew 24, somewhere in there? Jesus does warn it. I'm not saying that I condone or support murder, but I'm just saying that this world is a shitty fucking place, and Jesus really needs to come. He needs to get here. He needs to pick us up.
These no-fault divorce laws. These women get married to guys maybe they never intend to stay with, and then when they're out, they're done, and they want child...
And see, that is a big thing, okay? No, I am a fan of child support. Okay, how it was back when, back in the 50s, 60s, it wasn't a good system. Okay, but now we've gone too far the other way, to where this money isn't going towards a child. I've had multiple friends who have done this. I never knocked up anyone. I wasn't stupid. Okay, because I watched all my friends go through that shit for 20-something years. Most of them are still going through that, and I'm 36. You have kids, you're never going to get away from it. Okay? So,
support and they want half the stuff. And I think a lot of men are looking at women and they're very liberal. They're overweight. They have a very high estimation of themselves. I think that people call it hoflation.
Yep.
Hoflation?
Yes. Their sense of their own looks and sexual value is very inflated.
Yep.
And so a lot of people are looking at these like frumpy, obnoxious, loudmouth, liberal women who are also very promiscuous and saying this is not actually appealing at all. And I don't want to start a family with a person
Sounds
like
awful.
this. Yeah,
It is awful.
But if you believe in the...
Thank you. It is awful. The things that are happening right now out there is just... It is that bad. Why will there be a radical shift in this country? Why can we go from republic to empire? Okay? Why can Christian nationalism become a thing? It's because all the men in this country have said, we've had enough of this. And here's the worst part. I don't agree with their ending result, the ending final product. Okay? But the changes they say to push, I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with bringing the country back to a theocracy. I disagree with how they are going to do it. And because no one involves me, okay, a little bit of my narcissism coming out here. I am a science fiction author, okay. I have now titled myself, with Rock's help, as the most radical streamer, okay. Because what I'm saying sometimes is important, okay. What if the question must be posed? What if nationalism is idolatry? Can it go too far? America first or God first? Is it America first, God second? And I'm saying, like, I agree with their principles in bringing the country back together. Okay? I agree with it. Okay? But I cannot agree with breaking the Word of God because the Word of God is clear. That's why I'm the most radical. That's why. That's why I'm the most extreme. It's not just because I swear. That does give me an edge. That probably gives me a full point. Okay, edge. That I don't care. And I'm willing to use profanity to prove my point. You don't like my language? Well, maybe you should relook at the Sabbath debate. And I'll quit fucking swearing. Maybe you should quit putting your head in the sand, and you should think about it.
Patriarchy, as I fervently do, because it's just reality.
Hold on. I wonder if I can... I don't want to go back. It is. It is reality. It is reality. It is what God designed. Okay? The patriarchy is what God designed. The Bible says, the Father, the Son, man, woman. Okay? But that we are to love our wives as Christ loved the church. So unconditional love. It doesn't mean demanding or controlling, and that's the problem. Satan has manipulated the patriarchal system. In many ways. The initial design God had, the true initial design, was better. If it were to be brought back, it's probably still going to be bastardized. It probably wouldn't be a good system. Because they're, like I said, if you... Okay, so if we're going to start a theocracy, okay, and all of the 10 Commandments aren't there, okay, gentlemen, you got a hole in the ship, and you're putting out to sail across the Atlantic in a sinking vessel. We don't do this. We don't need to do this. This is horrible. And please, I'm serious, because I might tag you in this, Tucker. If you do take the time and watch this, you must know that my views are extreme because no one has listened. And I feel, and no one has listened my entire life, it's not just my short career live streaming, okay, that I feel the Sabbath debate must start. And so I don't know what day you worship on. If I have stated something incorrect, I apologize. I'll even apologize in advance. Because like I said, I like this guy. I've always liked this guy. I thought he would be one of the most interesting people to meet. Truly. My mentor, the one who taught me philosophy, and we talked to PhD psychology. He was a huge, huge Tucker Carlson fan. Favorite person on Fox News. And that man watched Fox News 24/7. Anytime I walked into his house, that shit was always on. And so I debated world problems with a PhD psychologist while watching Tucker Carlson at midnight. You know, reruns and shit. He would record it. He'd always record it. Have to watch Tucker. And then Tucker left Fox, and we were happy because he was free. Okay, but at the same point, we were pissed off because we couldn't watch him anymore.
You know, we didn't choose the system. We were born into a system that is part of nature. Can't get out of it. So if you believe that that's true, which it is, then you think that men should lead. And if it's going to be better, men should make it better because that's their job.
Right.
And that is what
So
God
you don't
designed.
want to give them a pass.
That is what God designed. He is 100% right. It is reality. It will come back to it. Okay? And I'm not saying that as a man, a good man should consult his wife. A good man should consult his entire family. Okay? A good man should consult God. Okay? And a good man should put his family first. A good man should serve as Jesus served. And so I feel that there are many issues with the patriarchal system and how it devolved, once again devolved, as everything has over time.
Do you? I'd be like, it's all the girls suck, so.
I don't even blame it on the women because I think that it's the incentive structures. You know, women are allowed to do this by the legal system, social norms. Technology is
allowed by the legal system. He actually said it. What is that, the 19th Amendment? Which one is that? I don't remember. He's not the only person who's brought that up. The Christian Nationals brought that up. Okay. I found that hilarious. Go back to family-style voting. It just might happen. The type of toxic women and culture that he is describing and he is referring to, they have fucked up that badly. They have. They have pissed off men who honestly just wanted to be left alone and have the American dream and go work a hard job. Like, go do what men do. Okay, go put in a 10-hour day welding. Okay? Or go do carpentry or siding or fortunately I've done physical jobs, but like me, spend a decade in a call center being yelled at. Okay? Having to deal in the heart of diversity and toxic female culture. Okay? No offense to any of my female friends. Okay? Especially later in my career. Okay? What I am more talking about and referring to was my time at Allstate. Okay, that's when diversity really kicked off. It was just kind of the whole culture at the time. And I was a smoker. And so they hated me for being a smoker. And I said, I'm diverse because I'm a smoker. And so they, straight up. It was arguments every day. It was me standing in front of the do not smoking sign with a picture. Okay? Shit like that. So, he said it. I believe it could happen. I believe that if we get back to a Christian theocracy, if Christian nationals have their way, it would just be the men in the country voting. It would. And the sad and horrible truth is that this massive pendulum swing is somewhat deserved. I don't even feel bad about it. Like I said to you, if they are going to recover and it's my job to finish them off and kick them off the cliff, well, metaphorically speaking, of course. Remember, like Fuentes, I don't ever condone violence. The Bible says, thou shalt not kill. I don't condone violence. I don't even condone violence of suicide. That's self-murder. I don't. So this is all a metaphor. We're beating them. We're in a war of ideas. We're in a war of online, a war of principles. Okay? And this man is a master of it. He is. Okay? He's very good. But if we can stop their false ideology, and I can go into a job and be looked equal at, because as much as I say no offense to my female friends, there are many times in my life where, from a managerial candidate perspective or whatever, I just didn't have confidence because, first off, I didn't have a degree, I wasn't a minority, and I was not a woman. That's the truth. And I'm not saying that the female managers I've had didn't earn their jobs. I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
a big part of it. The attention that is available to women. Women go on Instagram and they get attention from thousands of men. So it's the incentives. But I would say that, because I hear this all the time, people say, well, the men need to step up and be better and lead the women. Easier said than done.
Women don't want to be fucking led.
You know,
course I
because
agree.
They don't want to be fucking led. No. They don't want to. That's what I said. It's better being single half the time.
With that.
they're at war with the system, and not even just the system, but also society. Because let's say you find one of these so-called good girls who's Christian and traditional, but through osmosis.
Bro, let's just talk about the good Christian girl for a second. After my divorce, okay, I thought about getting remarried, and then I started going to other Christian sites. Guess who I married? Guess who God led me to? A witch. Because none of the Christians are actually practicing true Christianity. Oh. I will play into it. I will.
Wherever you go, she's going to be in society. She's going to be on TikTok. She's going to be on Instagram. She's going to be talking to other women. And maybe she's one way when you meet and get married, but 10 years down the road, 15 years, 20 years down the road.
Okay. But see, this is an easy problem to fix. Okay. What's the topic? Thank you. I'm doing great today. Having a great show. I've been putting this off. So this channel, I'm going to be honest with you, this channel is one of the most radical and extreme biblical channels, and it's just because we push Bible all the way. We have been looking more into Christian nationalism. I have put off this interview in looking at Nick Fuentes. I know very little about Nick Fuentes. It is because I actually know, I didn't know a lot of those streamers or podcasters. I have been out, been in another universe writing books, and so many of these people I didn't know. So today I wanted to do this to learn. I was incredibly surprised, though, by what I have learned. This is not the face of a violent radical extremist. I actually could sit down and talk to this individual, and we would have probably more in common than not. Straight theocracy, theology. He is a Catholic. Constantine is Satan's architect. Just joined and heard. I married a witch. Yeah, I did, and she was a way better choice than became Christian. Than the actual Christian, because the problem with the actual Christians is they worship on the wrong day. The only reason why I am the most radical online streamer, okay, is because I preach to push the Bible 100%, and that includes the Sabbath, that includes State of the Dead, and no one else really wants to. They don't even want to talk about it. And so looking at Christian nationalism moving forward is just a really big focus on this channel. I have wanted to know this. And kind of where I was going, I'll kind of get back into rhythm here. The reason why I bring this up and why I pause here is because the problem he is talking about, the 10 years down the road, and the person changing, okay, is very fixable. Very fixable, okay? This can be done with God. It is done with both of you on a daily basis, focusing, putting your focus towards one common goal, okay? If that's done every day, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. Marriage is hard work. It is insanely hard work. And if something were ever to happen to my wife, God forbid, I probably would not be married again. Because it is that difficult. Every day you have to, and it's both sides. I think that's just how the world is. I think anyone who has been married for a while would say, guess what, man? It just is hard work. You're living with another individual, another person.
would people change? And I think that women, as kind of the ultimate conformists, the ultimate enforcers of like social norms, I think eventually the pressure from society kind of gets to them, and a lot of them will go in a different
Depends what kind of
direction.
husbands they have. I mean, if there's real leadership at home, I don't know a single happily married woman who's liberal. Not one. I know a lot of married women.
Wow. Hold on. I know a lot of liberal women. The extreme that Fuentes is talking about, I probably would agree with Tucker. I don't know if I've ever met that extreme side that's actually happy with themselves. Holy shit, I gotta agree with Tucker. I think he's right. I don't think I could name one. Not one. And I'm going to say the other side of it, I'm not going to say it's probably great either. It is better. It is significantly better. But there is still error in it.
I mean, I'm 56. All the women I know are married. Mm-hmm. And every happily married woman is non-liberal. Mm-hmm. I can't even imagine. There's no category for happily married middle-aged liberal woman. There isn't, never been one.
Right.
So like maybe the job is to, make a girl happy and like all this nonsense ends.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that could be a bottomless pit too, because the one critique I have of the men is, and you're right about this, they enable this behavior.
Well, if that's...
They do. Now, it is not force, okay? It is not violence, okay? It must be done in love. But I would be very honest with you. Okay? There's only one reason why I would ever divorce my wife. Is if my wife left God. And I have made it very clear that I would. Because that is backed up by the Bible. That's 100% backed up by the Bible. Otherwise, no. I would never leave my wife. Even if she had an affair. Okay? If anything, Jesus has talked about, if we look at the metaphor of Jesus being the husband and the church being the bride has cheated on the husband, I love this word, a multiplicity of times. A really large number. A great many times. So, if I were truly following the example of Jesus, I'm an inquirer to being Catholic, but I'd say Nick sort of has the footnotes version. He understands all the basic teachings, but not a deep theological person, and certainly has his own message he's pushing. Very true. Very true. I do not know at any point, I haven't watched this entire video, like if you go back and you watch the beginnings of it, I haven't watched this entire video, but from what I have seen in his interview, he does not reference God once. But many Catholics, and there's a great majority which are secular, okay? And you gotta keep in mind that if you are Catholic, okay, I apologize, I kind of apologize, but I don't. The Catholic Church and actual Bible teaching in the Vulgate is not actually reality. It never has been reality. If you look at my X page, you will see that I just posted that Emperor Constantine, Council of Nicaea, okay, changing of Saturday to Sunday, okay, he was Satan's architect, okay, he was a bastard. He was a little bitch who built a temple to himself. Fuck that motherfucker. Can't stand him. Can't stand him. He's probably, he's next in line, second nemesis. There's only one arch nemesis, and they have one arch nemesis. I'm still not going to say his name, okay? Because he's the biggest bitch of all.
For sure.
Also, I know that this is a radical extreme Christian channel. I have no issue swearing. Here's why I have no issue swearing. I will never take the Lord's name in vain. That breaks the commandment. But the other profanity and stuff actually when the Bible says swear, that's actually an oath. It's like promising to do something. There actually is no law in 613 anywhere Old Testament, okay, that says not to swear. Should we treat people nice? Should we be better? Will we do it in heaven? No, we won't. But people are creating a greater offense. People are worshiping on Sunday. So if you have issues with me swearing, go read the 4th commandment.
Epidemic of simps who, and especially with Christians, I've noticed this. This is why Andrew Tate has so much appeal, and the Christians are kind of losing this conversation.
You know what I've heard about? I don't know a lot about Andrew Tate. You know what I've heard about Andrew Tate? Those are the rumors I've heard. I could be completely wrong. That's what I've heard. He's that dude. That's what I hear.
Tate's a Muslim polygamist who is very chauvinistic, and you could even argue
so
it as someone who is
What? No shit. So I'm completely wrong then. Okay, see, I can admit when I'm completely wrong. I don't know half of these people. I don't. I have heard the name multiple times. So he's a Muslim polygamist? He's actually got the whole 70 virgin thing going down on Earth? No shit. But guess who is going to be asking Grok about Andrew Tate later? That will tie right in with the Christian nationalism side, because I firmly believe, okay, that it will because of the Muslim, okay, how we get to a Sunday law, how we get back to 321 AD, okay, is we stop people from worshiping on Friday. He quotes the keys a lot when there is an argument that's anti-Catholic, when I've seen Nick debate, LOL, but that's like Catholic Win 101, and it's a lazy digging your own hole. True, but remember, shit is still shit, my friend, okay? Idolatry is still idolatry. It does not matter if you call idolatry nationalism, okay? Or if you call the bottle of liquor sitting next to an idol, or if you have to go to the actual idol of Moloch, okay? Or of Baal. An idol is still an idol. Bowing before Mother Mary is idolatry. It is breaking of the commandment. And they changed it. So debating right or wrong in a Catholic argument, to me, is completely irrelevant. It is so insanely irrelevant. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just not even gonna talk about it, because I spend hours talking. Like, you should have heard of what I said about the Pope today. You should have heard about what I said about the priests wearing their blue furry outfits underneath. I don't hold back. I don't have to hold back. I have the Bible and God on my side. And I have no issue with calling out blasphemous bullshit and breaking God's law. None. So the concept of a Catholic debate and a Catholic, like, who's better Catholic? Completely and utterly irrelevant to me. I am a theologian. Their tradition is shit, and it has absolutely nothing to do with God. Okay? To say that Satan himself did not sit next to Constantine and draw up the plans, okay, would be a lie. Fuck them. And you want further evidence? Guess what a pope said? That they never erred and they never would. Well, I'm sorry. I think raping children is a kind of a big error. I think slaughtering people and torturing them and hanging them on crosses and throwing them to lions, I think that's kind of a bad thing. Changing the Bible, especially when God said not to, and manipulating it, I think we're crossing some major lines here, gentlemen. Okay? In fact, I'm just gonna fucking call you pagan. Because you are. You are a converted pagan, like the Samaritans of old. That's what the Catholics are. Now, there are many devout Catholics. Okay? There are many devout Methodists. When I speak, I generally speak against the leadership. Okay? But if you hear my message, you choose to ignore it, and you choose to take your tradition, then, well, you, not me, you have chosen the next category.
And an OnlyFans site himself, like, is not an observer, let's say, of Christian sexual morality.
No.
But men are going with him because he's putting women in their place. He's talking about patriarchy.
Putting women in their place. Oh, good. That's what we need. I have a feeling Andrew Tate and I are not going to get along at all. Do I want to make an enemy of him? I'm not sure yet. I have God on my side. We'll see what the Lord says. The concept of polygamy, remember, we know who the first polygamist was. It was Lamech. He was a bastard. It didn't come from God. If polygamy did come from God, it would have been Adam, Eve, and Jasmine. Okay, it was not Adam, Eve, and Jasmine. It was Adam and Eve. Adam, Eve, and Jasmine came later with Lamech. Go read Genesis. If you don't know that, it's only like a couple lines, and he says, he speaks some bad things against God when he takes his 2 wives. Personally, I think he killed someone to take that wife, and it has to do with his subtle phrase in referring himself to Cain. Okay? Had to do with murder. Okay? So, personally, I think that's where it is, but polygamy is 100% anti-God. The kings did it out of culture. Okay? But let's look at David and Solomon. What wise man has 700 wives? Not a wise man. No smart man has 700 wives. No smart man has 10 wives. Especially in this day and age, they would fucking kill you. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He puts them in place? I'm sure he does. I've heard bad things about Andrew Tate. Okay? I'm not gonna lie. When I hear about live streamers, when I hear about people far side, okay? He's the name. Okay? This guy's talked about badly, but I always figured that, especially when I saw, this guy was not as bad as what he appeared. The other, I cannot state that. Yet.
Patriarchy and women's place in a society like that. Whereas Christian men, Catholics, Protestants alike, are both kind of tone policing the men. And they...
Biblically based. Those of us who fight against the imperial machine, those of us who don't believe, okay, that you have to go past an offering plate, those of us who've actually read the Bible and can call out the minister and say, actually, sir, that's not what it says, literally, okay? He did leave us out. They always leave us out, though. They don't like to hear us.
They worship their wives. They worship the women, put them on a pedestal, and they kind of get bossed around. They get henpecked by the women.
I think we're required to love our wives. Like, that's, all over the...
No. So all over New Testament. Yes, husbands love your wives. Wives respect your husbands. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you. Quoting Paul. Corinthians? Is it Corinthians? 1 Corinthians?
The New Testament. Husbands love your wives. Wives respect your husbands. That seems like a very natural balance to me.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that you have to love...
But the love is not putting your spouse in line. Remember how we described this. Okay, Jesus said, husbands, love your wives as I have loved the church. Okay? Where you would stand on pointing to secondary source in historic structured when it comes to the needing and objectify reading of the Bible. Probably I see when you remove the tradition and the authority and stick to the Nota Sola Scriptura. Is that Latin? Scriptura? Someone, Brandon Robertson, it's just as Christian as anyone else. I hope that makes sense. Didn't come across. No, it came across just fine. It's the thing. I'm a bit of a rule guy. Okay. There is a path. There is a right path in the Bible there is a specific principle, there are specific teachings and specific ideologies. And just because someone says, it says this here, or I interpret it this way, it doesn't mean you can look through the entire Bible. Remember, I'm a strong non-Trinitarian. I don't believe Jesus is God. That alone would get me beat and stoned in a Protestant, Catholic, or Adventist church. Any of them. If I walked in and said Jesus is the literal Son of God, they would say, you're LDS. Okay? It would be heresy. Why? Because some douchebag named Constantine had the Council of Nicaea, and then went and burned 3 specific nations. See, these people don't know history. They don't know the history behind it. I'm not making this up. This isn't speculation. Constantine changed the Sabbath in 321 AD. He took the moral authority. The moral authority. Also, I believe JW, Jews also have that understanding. Jews, no, if the JW Jews, they still keep tradition, like Messianic, Orthodox, biblically based Christians, we all worship. Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses. That's who, those dudes. They have their own, Jehovah's Witnesses have their own issues. They can't even say Jesus is the Son of God. They skip our advocate and commit some of the highest blasphemy across the board, rivaling even the Catholics. Rivaling the furry priests. Oh, I'm going to keep using that one. And if not, then go debate King of the North with me. Go look at Daniel and tell me why the King of the North doesn't like women. Okay? Who doesn't like women? Okay, so the end time, the people, the King of the North is going to come against the people. Okay, it's either going to be the Catholic priests, okay, the Catholic, or it's going to be the furries. Okay? And I don't see the furries getting that type of movement that quickly. See, the Catholics are the ones that created that bullshit.
Of your wife as your wife.
Yeah.
A lot of men...
As opposed to what? Your mom?
Well, no, like your buddy.
No.
Because I hear this all the time, and I hate this. Guys will say, I married my best friend. And I think, she's your wife. She's not your best friend.
My wife is a very good friend of mine. She is. Okay. But she is still my wife.
Because there's a difference.
What is the difference?
I think that when you talk about your best friend, you're a peer. You're an equal. And I think your best friendships are with other men. And I think that your wife ultimately is subordinate to you. She's your helpmate. Yeah. And ultimately, as the man in the marriage and as the father, you have authority, the final say over the household.
Well,
and
course.
She can give advice. It's not to say I'm not a freak where you say, shut up, woman. I mean, of course, you discuss things with your wife and your wife gives input, but the authority rests with the man.
Of course.
Based. Why is it based? It's because it's how God actually designed it. Okay? Am I the type of person that wants all of that responsibility? Do I like to just go and do my own thing? More often than not. Okay. But is this God's actual plan? Will it probably come back? Yeah, it will.
Of course. But God set up this kind of amazing system where men are physically stronger. Mm-hmm. So, of course, you could make your wife do whatever you wanted. You're bigger than she is.
Right.
But he also instilled in men this desire to please your wife. That's a very natural thing. You want your wife to be happy.
Absolutely.
Your life is just better. Your life is just better. It really is.
The whole happy wife, happy life thing is completely real. It's you can't get away from it. It's not all of these things. It's not a choice. It's the biological reality that you live with, that you were born with. You want your wife to be happy. And if she's unhappy, you're unhappy. Mm-hmm. To a much greater extent than vice versa. right?
Yeah.
I think men care about their wives being happy much more than wives care about their husbands being happy.
Yes,
I
yeah.
have noticed. And that's compensation for their lack of physical power.
Mhm.
That's my view of it. And that's why it is this kind of perfect balance. But somebody needs to be the final decision maker. I completely agree. And when you give up that.
And in my household, it is me. And I consult my wife, and I talk to my wife. But how could I not agree with Fuentes? How could I not agree with Carlson? How could I not agree with them? It's what the Bible says. If I am to disagree with them, then unfortunately then I'm a hypocrite. Okay, and I have to go back on the other things I say. Remember, the reason why I can take such a strong moral line in the first place on this is because I'm saying to do all of it. Okay, we can't do sacrificial system. Okay, but we can keep feasts. Okay, you can wear prayer tassels. Okay, you can keep the Sabbath. It may not be what the popular thing what everyone's doing, but it's what God told you to do. It's funny because most Catholics I argue with the Orthodox about the furries as the Orthodox as this strange problem with the converts wanting to be both committed Orthodox and furry. Yeah. Whereas Catholics are more like maybe it's phase and maybe you need confession. We will. Actually, hold on. I can't show you my what? Actually, can I? No, I can't show you my watch list because I'll lose this. We're almost done with this. But I just saw, since you are Catholic, I just saw that Pope Leo is pushing for full communion with the Orthodox. I have the video. I haven't done reactions on it yet, but I have the video. For end times to happen, in my view, for one world government, to prophecy to be fulfilled, for revelation to come true, this has to happen. The Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church will have to be, the breakup will have to be over. And so I saw that he officially called for it. I have not seen a response or anything like that yet. I haven't really delved into it. But I saw that the official statement was made. And I think, shit, did John Paul say something like that? I forget. Someone else, I feel like, in the past 30 years said that as well. I don't remember. But it was just stated to do a full communion. Which is, to me, is kind of a big deal. Because right now we have so many different... To get to a one world, to all people following one banner, it means that all of these different smaller systems, like North Korea, okay, like China, okay, China's going to have to be gone, okay, the Muslim nations, okay, if we're going to follow Christianity, it's going to be one thing, okay, in the end. Well, I got bad news for you guys, okay? Anyone who's listening to me from the Middle East, I got bad news for you. If prophecy will be fulfilled. And I promise you, I'm not going to be part of the group. I'm not part of this group. I'm just telling you, this group is coming. And they're backed by Satan. Okay? This group is coming. And it's not going to be good. So not Catholic yet, as the process is long. LOL. Yeah, most popes have met with the Orthodox leaders and vice versa. Yeah, I know that they meet, but this was actually like a full call or whatever. I haven't watched the video. That was just the title. I will do reactions on the video probably tomorrow. This interview, I have enjoyed this interview so much. We are already at like 4 hours. And so I'm going to wrap this up. We're probably going to look at just a couple more things, and then I'll be done for today. Because I got to go do a few more things. Normally my shows are like 4 hours or so. I'll try in time to get them up to 5 and move them like up. But we're here. Which section are we even on? There's so much more. That's my problem. And I warned you guys that we wouldn't be able to watch. I mean, we've barely covered any of this. And it's 4 hours. You know what? Let's just start wrapping up. Anyway, here's the video. Okay? First off, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Tucker, I'm probably going to drop your name, and I'm going to thank you on X for this amazing Absolutely amazing interview. I will probably go back in my spare time and I will watch the rest of it just because I am still curious. But for my channel, this has answered a great many questions. I still pose in our closing today. I really do pose the question. Hold on, let me get down here. I've been having way too much fun with Grok, and looking at things. Oh, man. This is not the right one. Okay, good. It's not the right one. Alright, well. Nonetheless, so I don't have his quote. That's fine. I'm not going to find it. Okay, so, nationalism. The concept of nationalism. This is my question. I want you to think about this. Is nationalism idolatry? Is it America first or is it God first? I told you, I love this country. Trump has made America great again. I'm not saying I voted for him, but hey, looks better so far. Why can't we be God first? Why can't we be God first? Like Tucker said. I really appreciate that. Christian and American. In his mind, it is clear. It is blatantly obvious. It does not matter what day he worships on. It does not matter his theology. Okay? What matters in this direct comparison at this specific moment is that he stated God, then man. Okay? God, then man. God, man, then back to God, and then we say fuck the tradition. Okay? Alright, gents. I'm gonna get going here. You guys have a good day. Okay? Enjoy. I will talk to you all later. We'll be on tomorrow. Stay tuned for more radical, extreme biblical content. Why? Because maybe the world needs to know. Maybe it's time that the board gets shook up a bit. Maybe it's time that the Sabbath is debated. You name it. When and where. Gents, peace out. It has been an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow.